So in this video, I'm going to show you something I've never done on this channel before, and that is an end-to-end agent build, literally from start to finish, from ideation all the way to deployment, and this actually running on a server and working. You can follow along and learn from this. And what we're going to build is we're going to create an AI news aggregator. So this is going to be super exciting. So what this will do, once you have this deployed, which I will show you in this video, every day you will get an email with the latest AI news specifically tailored to you. We can specify YouTube channels that we want to follow, blog posts, RSS feeds. We'll bring all of that together in a scraping pipeline that will run every day, and we'll use AI and language models to tailor it specifically for us based on our interests. And not only that, I'm going to walk you through everything. The deployment, how I use AI-assisted coding tools in order to plan, architect, and design new features, how to bring everything together in a Docker Compose file, how to deploy it via render, how to set up and manage the database, literally everything. So that by the end, like I've said, you'll not only have a serious portfolio project, but also you'll get a chance to understand and get a behind the scenes view of how I structure these projects. I'm going to show you everything, how I debug, how I plan, how I run into all of the challenges. So that's going to be the most valuable part of this video beyond just creating the news aggregator. So if you're serious about learning AI and you really want to get a deep understanding of what AI engineering and building projects like this look in the real world, then you want to make sure to check out this video. I know it's a long one, but it's going to pay off tremendously because I am sure you will learn a ton. Okay, so how do I recommend you to follow along with this video? Because we definitely need some instructions here before diving straight into this, because you probably also want to know, look, am I going to commit to almost 4-hour video? It's a big one, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. But it's big. This is going to be a private repository. I will leave a link down below this video. If you follow that, I will give you access to this private repo. Why? Because this is serious stuff. We share some deployment strategies in here, and I'm totally okay with sharing this, but only for people that actually watch this video and want to follow along, not some people that just want to Google stuff and then happen to land upon this project repository. Okay, then the project structure. This video is going to be split up into 3 parts. Part 1 is on the master branch that you can see over here. So you can see master, deployment, deployment final. And here's why it's split up like this. The first part of this video is going to be all the local setup and the core functionality to really get the end-to-end news aggregator ready. And at the end, you'll have literally an email from yourself sending to yourself with a daily digest. That's checkpoint number 1. I created a checkpoint on the master branch because you can see all of the code snippets still here. Then we move into deployment. And then that's part 2. We're going to deploy to render. This is where we actually bring this to life. And then we make a lot of changes. We introduce new files. We change the environment variable. So I created a different branch for that. So you can then switch. And then also part number 3 is once we get everything ready, I'm going to do the final optimization, some production ready changes, and also some big refactoring. So that's on the deployment final branch. Throughout the video, this will all make sense. I will exactly show you when I jump to which one so you can follow along. Okay, so how this video works. This is important because this is going to be very different from my other videos and probably also from other videos that you'll find on YouTube. It's a live coding build, so not a traditional step-by-step tutorial. So here's what you should expect. It's going to be fast-paced. I coded my natural pace leveraging AI tools extensively. You won't see every code snippet or file generation in real time because I'm using the AI-assisted workflow. But rest assured, everything is here in the repo for you to reference. This is, in my opinion, this is really going to condense 20 to 40 hours of learning into a single session. Like really, if you go through this in the recommended way, it's going to be insane, trust me. So how to follow along? There are like 2 options, but I really recommend the first one, the recommended approach for maximum learning. And that is you clone the repository before starting this video, link below to get access. You keep a local copy ready, so you have that project open, but then you open up a new project as well. So as I go through the video, I'll show you, look, here's how I start up the project, you follow along, and then what you want to do is you want to follow along with me. Now I'm going fast. Whenever I feel like, oh, I can't quite catch it anymore, go to the local copy. Everything is there. So you can look at the files, you can simply copy paste, and then you can run the checkpoint. So whenever we do something, we test something, I run the files, you can do it like that. But that is really how you get to see the bigger picture and look at all of the pieces of the puzzle and bring it together. So you want to iterate step by step. So don't rush ahead. Ensure each phase works before moving forward. And also, this is important, expect confusion. That's intentionally in this video. So some parts will move fast and not be immediately clear. This is where the real learning happens. Because if I lay everything out step by step for you, like I do in my other videos, there's room for that. And you will go through it and it will be nice and everything is laid out, but this is where you're going to struggle. But that's where you'll learn a lot. So the alternative is really just going to the deployment final and look at the README docs over there and then just deploy that. Like I said, that's also totally possible, but then you won't learn anything from it and you just have a cool news aggregator. But yeah, that's the approach. So why I recommend this, traditional tutorials show you the right way to do things. This video shows you the real way. With AI assistance, rapid iteration, debugging, and adapting on the fly. By following along, hitting the same checkpoints, you will literally learn how to effectively leverage AI coding tools. So that's something you'll learn, how I use them. Understand the thought process behind architectural decisions. I will be very clear about the decisions I make. Experience real-world development workflows all the way from planning, architecture, ideation to deployment. And build muscle memory through hands-on practice because we'll move files a lot, we use the code edit, we'll do a lot of things. So the most valuable learning happens when you struggle, reference the code, and push through to the next point. All right, so that was the info, everything that I needed to lay out first. So now we go into building mode. All right, so let's get to work. So whenever I would start a new project, I would come over to one of my repository folders. Let's do this one in the personal repositories. And then what I would do is I would do a UV init, and then I would give the project a name. So let's call it AI News Aggregator. That sounds about right. Okay. Let's go into that project folder and then open it up in Cursor so we can start laying the foundation for this. All right, so we have a clean setup over here. Now let's save this as a workspace so we can easily open it up. And now the first thing that I really want to do over here is start to brainstorm on some features. So we're going to build an AI news aggregator, right? I still have no idea what this is going to look like, but I have a general idea of how I like to build things. And usually nowadays, what I always like to do when I start something new is I want to use some kind of speech-to-text tool in order to just do a brain dump and get my ideas out. And then from there, we can start to plan using AI. And in this case, I'm going to do that with Cursor, and I'm going to do that with the Composer 1 model, which I've been really liking lately. But you can follow along with anything. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tool that I'm actually working on right now. It's called Glido. And if you're lucky and you check below this video, there will be a link where you can test it out for free right now. If you're too late, the public beta that we're running right now will probably already be closed. But let me show you what this can do right now. Let's start brainstorming. So what I want to build is an AI news aggregator where I can take multiple sources. So for example, YouTube channels, and I want, for example, blog posts from OpenAI and Anthropic, and I want to scrape those, put them into a database where we have some kind of structure where we have sources, we have, let's call them articles. And then what I want to do is I want to run a daily digest where we're going to take all of the articles from within that time frame and we're going to do an LLM summary around that. And then based on the user insights that we specify in some kind of agent system prompt, we can generate a daily digest, which is going to be short snippets with a link to the original source. Now, from the YouTube channels, I want to be able to create a list of channels, and then we want to get the latest videos from those channels. I think we can use the YouTube RSS feed for that, and for the blog posts, we can just have URLs that we can scrape for that. Okay, so I want everything built in a Python backend. I want to use a PostgreSQL database. I want to use SQL Alchemy in order to define the database models and then to also create the tables. I want the project structure to be an app folder where all of the app logic is in. And then I also want a Docker folder where we first create a very minimal setup for the PostgreSQL database. And then that will probably be the starting point. We want to make sure that later down the line, we can easily deploy the whole app to render and then also schedule it every 24 hours to run the reports, get everything. And then when we've created the daily digest, I want to send an email to my personal inbox with this. So that's what I have in mind. I think that would be pretty cool to build. Okay, so now you can see with the help of Glido, we have the whole text in there. It's a very long string of everything that I was just saying. So now this is something we can just leave here as kind of like a scratch pad. And I'm just going to just plug that into the Composer 1 right now. And I'm going to plan mode. So I'm not going to build just yet. I'm first just going to check like, look, what is it going to come up with? Now, you can use any of your favorite AI tool for that, but the idea about leveraging AI really is we want to be in control. We are the architect. And you saw probably already that like within my description, I was already quite specific. Postgres, I want SQL Alchemy, Python based. I want a folder like this and a folder like that. And that's going to really be helpful. So, okay, let's see. So it's going to ask some follow-up questions, LLM. So let's see. So yeah, let's use OpenAI. How should we send emails? I have no idea. I want it to be as easy as possible. And ideally, I want viewers of this whole build to be easy to follow along. So ideally a free surface, but let me know. What do you think is the easiest way? Block scraping. I want the full context of the page. User insights prompt. Where should the agent system prompt live? We're going to create a separate folder called agent where we'll put all of that in, and the Docker setup should include a PostgreSQL container. Yeah, we're not going to connect to an external database. We'll do everything from within inside the project. Please adjust the plan accordingly. All right, so it updated the plan. That should look good for now. So let's actually ask it, awesome. Can you now create the project structures for me? So just lay out the folders already. You don't have to create the files just yet. And also give me the UV add command with all of the libraries that we're probably going to need. Don't add them to the PyProject.toml. I will run it myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, look, I really love this. So now ask it for time. Yeah, we can run this. It's going to create all of the folders. And let's see, we can already say later down the line. Okay, let's see. It's going to ask all of the libraries. And let's see, I'm going to create an environment with UV right now. So let's do a UV fenv in here and then make sure we select that within that project. Is that already selected? Yes. And I'm going to UV add, and then I'm going to at least have these in here for now. And I'm also going to do a UV add, and I'm going to do an IPy kernel. I'm going to add that as a development dependency. All right. So that is looking good for now. Okay, let's see. We can actually have the agent folder in here. That's all good. Okay, so this is the setup. So right now, I quickly want to test the core functionality. So what's going to make or break this application is getting the actual sources. So I'm going to start with a YouTube service where I'm going to say, okay, let's now actually start with building out the YouTube service where I want to specify a list of channels. And then for those channels, I want to create a service where through the YouTube RSS feed, I think we need to figure out the ID or something like that. You need to check what the input for the RSS feed is going to be. And then get the latest videos and then also filter them by time. So every day we can essentially do a search and see, look, in the last 24 hours or so, is there a new video for the channel that we are creating? Later, we can get more specific about this when we store them into the database, but let's just first test that core functionality to see if we can set that up and then also use the YouTube transcript API Python library in order to get the transcript. That's the first service that I want you to work on. Okay, so we have that in there. Now I'm going to agent mode because right now I want this to build some stuff. So even though we have the plan over here and it actually recommended to start with the database models, I actually first like to see something tangible. Let's see. So the scrapers is here, step number 4. So let's just first work on this. And then in the meantime, so while this is running, I'm actually going to, let's see, OpenAI, because for example, GPT 5.1 just released. So they have this news URL over here. This is just going to be my scratchpad where I'm going to say, look, I have that. And then Anthropic, let's see, we have the blog posts. What does Anthropic have? We have research. That's interesting. we have research, we have engineering. Let's actually see what we got over here right now. So it created the scrapers. So here's the YouTube scraper. Do we already have the YouTube transcript? No, that's not in there. So we need to add that. So UV add. Oh, I'm messing this up. UV add YouTube transcript API. What? What's going on? What did I miss? UV add YouTube transcript API. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. Okay, so now we have that. So now can we actually test that? So we have a channel ID, and I always like to do like look if name equals main, and then last channel ID. So let's actually see how this works. Because one of the tricky things with YouTube, let's see, let's say if you go to my channel, we can actually do that like this. So my channel slug or handle is at Dave Ebbelaar. But the thing is, whenever you work programmatically with something in YouTube, you want to get if channel ID, if username. Oh, I think it works both ways. Let's actually test that. Let's go in here. I want to be able to plug in the full channel URL like this. Will it work? I am just asking. So username. So it's going to add some other functionality to this. So okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that, because that is, if we can just use the username, that's actually a lot cleaner. So let's actually try and do username, and let's see what this looks like. So first, let's see if Python can actually run this without any import errors. That would already be, that would be a big win already. Because yeah, we're not using any, because whenever you're setting up a new Python project and you're working with multiple files and folders, we will run into that. Like managing the folder structure and inputs is always messy. So let's first actually see what we're doing. So we're using, and this is something I just know, you can use the XML feed for YouTube, but let's actually see if this works with a username. I know it works with a channel ID, but does this work? So this doesn't work. Okay, so after a little bit of digging, it seemed a little bit annoying to get it using a username. It's possible through the YouTube API, but that requires a separate dependency. So for now, we are just going to work with channel IDs. So let's actually say, hey, look, for now, I want you to clean up this file, make it as simple as possible. So it only accepts a channel ID because the usernames don't work. Let's clean up this file and then we test it. Okay, so then let's see, coming back to what we got going on over here. I think I had my own, yeah, this was my channel ID. So let's come back here and let's get into, let's see. So this is now very focused. So we can actually, you know what, let's get rid of this. We don't need this. I just want to test it in here. So we say if name equals main, get latest video. And then how does that work in here? We have the RSS feed. We can extract the video, get latest videos, cutoff time. And there is a default. So my last published video was from a week ago or so, something like, let's just do 200 hours just so we can cast a wide net in here. Now let's see if this is going to work. So what will it will return? Get latest videos. It will return the feed. Is that it? Yeah, feed. It will return videos. So we're going to say videos is, let's see if this works. Is there something in here? There is something in here. We got the video. Beautiful. Title, URL, video ID. Perfect. This is everything that I want at this point. So we got scrapers, we got YouTube. Yes. Okay. This is perfect. Now next, what I want to do is, let's see. Okay, perfect. This now works. What I now want to create is a surface inside the surface folder where we can take a YouTube video URL or a YouTube video ID, and then let's actually just do it for the video ID. That's easier. And I want to get the transcript in text format, and we're going to use the YouTube transcript API for that. And let's see, let's try and implement a very clean and minimal version of this. I'm going to just like copy paste this example output of the scraper. So we know what we have, and I'm going to YouTube transcript API. I've worked with this one before, and what I'm just going to check is sometimes when you just let AI rip at things, it will just pretty much like make things overly verbose. So let's just make sure that it actually, okay, got it. That it actually focuses on a very clean implementation. So, okay, we're making progress here. We're making progress. So we're going to create a service, YouTube get transcript, and we have the text in here. Okay, let's also test this one. If name equal main, print get transcript. We need a video ID. What did we have? So let's see. Let's run this one more time. And let's see, print. There we go. So look, I can now just start to test this. Let's see, get transcript. Okay, will this work? None. Okay, this is something. So then we need to do a little bit of digging here to see why is this not working. We do YouTube, get transcript, video ID, and we join the text. Why is this not returning fetch video ID? I'm just going to do a little bit of digging here to see, look, oh wait, just some manual tinkering over here. Can we actually get this? Let's first import this. Let's get rid of this. Let's just follow the examples. Look at the docs. So we do it like this. Yes, and then result is this. So we initialize the class, and then we fetch. So it's not get transcript, it's fetch. Then we do result. There we go. That seems about right. So that's what I was saying, right? So sometimes even when you're working with established libraries, it can get into a slippery slope. So whenever possible, always try and reference some kind of like quick start documentation. So we just make sure that we go into the right direction. So now if I get in here, we should, look, we still have get transcripts. Is this correct? With YouTube transcript API.fetch ID return for transcript. So it's still messing up. Like really try and emulate this. So we do fetch video ID. This should actually just be a transcript. And then what do we get back in here? So we have a result, so fetch transcript, return the transcript. For now, just to see if the function is working. So this should work. Yeah, okay. Now we need to figure out, and I'm just being lazy here. I'm going to say, look, this is the data model, the fetch transcript model that we're getting back. How can we just get the text from this? I'm just going to plug it in there so it can have a look at the structure. And then let's see in here, it will dissect that. And we can see, look, we have everything in here. So we're going to join. Yeah, okay. And yes, looking good. All right. That sounds like the start of my tutorial. Okay, perfect. So now we have a surface that can get us the transcript. So that's really good. So we have, let's see what's in here. There's also, I see, it was trying to combine that in here, which is not a bad idea to do. Okay. So now we're going to, this is already a little bit tricky. I'm going to commit this project, and then we're already going to do a quick refactor. So let's see, are we still running here? We are still running. I am going to say, look, this right now, I'm just going to do a project init. And I'm going to say, I'm going to publish this branch, and I want to do this to a private repository. So let's push this. So now we can, because now we have laid the groundwork, all right, people, we're getting there. So now whenever our AI agent is going off and doing crazy things, we want to be able to track all of the changes. So I'm going to say, look, perfect. This is working right now and the file is currently selected. I want you to migrate this function to the get transcript, and I want you to put everything into a nice YouTube. You know what, actually, how should we do it? Yeah, I want you to put it in a scraper, and I want you to create a YouTube scraper surface. So put it all nicely into a single class, so we can have a nice interface to work with this. That was a little bit of a fake instruction, but it will probably understand what we need to do, because pretty much what I want in here, I want a nice surface class. I want to work in an object-oriented programming way. So look, a YouTube scraper, beautiful. So now extract VOD, get the transcript, that all looks good. Okay, perfect. So now we don't need this anymore, and I can pretty much get rid of this, and I can start to test this, where I can say scraper. You always want to test this one more time. Okay, we have the YouTube scraper, and then I'm going to say transcripts is get transcripts. So this now works as standalone, self video ID, and then here we have the channel ID. Yeah, perfect. So now this should get us the transcript. And what's in here? Yeah, okay, perfect. And then what else we need? We need the channel videos. That should also still work. So let's see if that still works. Beautiful. Okay, now here we have two pieces of the puzzle, because now we can pretty much dump any channel in here, get the latest videos, then we can take the video ID, and then we can plug that into the transcript. Okay, awesome. Now what I want to do in this YouTube scraper, I want to define a pydantic model, two pydantic models actually, one for a channel video, and I'll dump the schema down below, and then also one for the transcript, which is just going to contain a text field. But this way we exactly know what type of data models we're working with. You can just create the models here in this file. Okay, boom, plugging that in there right now. So what I'm now going to do, so the AI will now create pydantic base models here. So we can make our application more type safe. So it's going to add pydantic in there. Look, so now beautiful. We have a transcript and we have a channel video ID, and then it should also update the functions in here so that the output, yeah, let's see, is going to be in that format. Perfect. Okay, checking everything. And this is going to really help us later down the line, so that we know when we are working with the data, we exactly know what type of data we're dealing with, and our IDE will also help with autocomplete. So let me show you what that looks like, and we're going to add a UV at pydantic. So we have that in here, and then let's get rid of this. And now let's get into, let's see, optional is not what, where is this coming from? I think I just need to run everything. Yeah, we good? We good. Okay, so now if I initialize the YouTube scraper, let's see if this still works. I hope it does. Yeah, look, so now what you'll find is that this now is actually we're getting a transcript back. So now in order to pretty much print the transcript, we could do print transcript.txt, and if we later decide we want to store additional metadata on here as well, that works. And now if we get the channel videos, you'll find that we also get a data model back and in a list. So this is going to be a list of channel videos. So now we can, we can import that. Yes, let's do it like this. Okay, so now this is already very nice and neat to work with. So this is a very good best practice to start working around. So now we have the channel videos in here. All right, awesome. Let's clean this up. So we have a very good starting point with our YouTube scraper over here. And now let's continue with creating our OpenAI new scraper, and we're going to do one for Anthropic as well. So let's come over here, and I'm just simply going to say, okay, awesome. The YouTube scraper now is looking good. Now I want you to create another scraper, and this is going to be the OpenAI scraper. And we're specifically going to look at the news page, the news slug of the openai.com website. I will link it below, What I want you to do is I want you to go through the website and try and figure out the structure. We may need some kind of like intermediate file with the request or beautiful soup or whatever, to figure out what the structure of those news articles is and how we can easily scrape them and get them into a structured format. So we first need to do some digging and some experimentation here. So let's start there. Okay, so that got weird real quick, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, wait, maybe there is an easier solution, and turns out there is an RSS feed for OpenAI as well. Look, we have everything that we need in here already. So scraping is generally a lot easier if you have a single page. That is generally something that we can work around very easy and actually know a very effective way to do that. So yeah, I think this works. Now we just need to figure out, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give it a piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to say, where are we? Okay, sorry, a little bit messy there. Look, I think this is going to be cool. Okay, so here's a snippet of the RSS feed, what it looks like. Boom, that is, don't you like how fast that is? Beautiful. Okay, then we have the website. Okay, look, first within the OpenAI scraper, use this RSS feed as an input and then analyze the structure and grab it in such a way and create a pydantic model around it where we can simply get a list of the articles published within a given time frame. Let's start there first and really do it clean and simple in as little code as possible, ideally. This shouldn't be complex. So look, now we get a beautiful OpenAI file in here, which is something we should be mindful of. So big tip, whenever you get into very weird import errors, always make sure that you don't accidentally have a file name in Python that is similar to a package that you're importing. So having this as OpenAI is tricky. So let's watch it. We're not importing OpenAI in this specific file, so I think we should be good. But this may come back and bite us in the ass later down the line. Okay, perfect. This looks good. We have, let's see, 24 hours. Perfect, because now, let's see, we can run this. So we have our OpenAI scraper. So that now works. And now we say, look, this is going to be a list of articles last 24 hours. So now we have everything, print articles, and we have nothing. Okay, that is beautiful. Just to make sure we are not. Okay. This is definitely an hour thing. But what's going on? Okay, so titles. So this is actually today. So we have to check if the time window works. Please check if we're handling the dates correctly. If I did the last 24 hours, I didn't get any results, although I see results on the website. I dumped the first result that we get below and also a snippet of the XML file to check that. Really offloading all the thinking to AI here. But yeah, that's what programming is nowadays. Now, yeah, like you really have to, for this video, I'm definitely leaning more into the vibe over here because it's also tricky to explain everything right as I'm going through this and then also do really focused coding. So for some reason, if I try and copy a snippet of the XML file, it does the whole thing. So that's something to keep in mind. So I did this. So I do this, and then still, are there nested items in here? I don't think so, right? For some reason, it just captures everything. Let's see, what is it saying? Checking the issues likely and how we compare dates. The article from 12 is older than about, checking the RSS feed. Am I just, the newest one? Oh, this is, wait. Got it. I was looking at this, but this is the last build date. That's literally, this is today's date. So I think this is good. I think the date is handling correct. Yeah, more reliable. Okay, so it did make some changes. So when I want to get when was the GPT 5.1? So that was 12th of November. They released it at midnight. But then the thing is, then we should get 2, right? Wait, it's a list. Wait. We probably have all of them in here. We have 4. Yeah. We're good. We're all good. Because look, now probably, or most definitely, if I take index number 1, this should be the, okay, no, not that one. There are more, I guess. This, and then GPT 5.1, OpenAI article. Perfect. Okay. This is good. Now, what I am going to do, and here I'm just going to, I know AI can do this, but it will probably mess it up first. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to open up a terminal. I'm going to UV add, and then I'm going to do docling get website. Let's see. Oh, wait. I need the docs. Where is it? I may even just go to my AI cookbook. Here, this is cool. I'm wondering if you also get it. If you search for AI cookbook, at least for me, first you see OpenAI and then you see my GitHub repository. So this is where I share all of my YouTube tutorials and also where I literally reference a whole lot of stuff myself when I'm working on things, because I know that in knowledge, docling, extraction, we convert. Yeah, so this is what I need. And then export to Markdown, basic HTML extraction, perfect. This is what I was looking for, because now what I want is, okay, perfect. We got the extraction working. Now I want to create another function in the service over here that's going to take a URL as input and then get the content and export it to Markdown. I'll show below how to do that. And then all I just need to add in there is this. So, and this is one of those things where I could have said, hey, use docling to do this, but whenever you already know how something should work and what something should look like, it's always better to quickly look that up to avoid getting into this rabbit hole where it's almost doing what you want, but not exactly. That can get tricky. So this is now, look, this is very, very easy. URL to Markdown. We have that in there. URL to Markdown. And here's the thing, sometimes docling is a little bit of a beefier library. So here you can see it takes some time to load this in, especially if you do this the first time, because it will download some stuff. So that's why this is taking a little bit longer than usual. But it is a really nice library to convert a web page to a Markdown, which is going to really help us for our AI analysis. So let's see. Yeah, actually I want this, and actually I want the second. Beautiful. Yeah, okay. So we have the articles. So we have 4 articles in here. There we go. And now we're going to say, look, I want the Markdown to be OpenAI Markdown scraper URL to Markdown. This is our function. We do the docling convert, which is, we have our converter. Yeah. And then we do article number 2. So you can see, look, article number 2.url is this. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm blocking this a little bit, but you can see this is the actual link in here. And this is just one of those things where you just can't beat that with the interactive mode that I'm working with, to go through your files like this. I know a lot of people, even my co-founder at Datalumina, Joris, he's like an old school Python developer. He loves PyCharm. He's he just can't get used to how I run my Python scripts. But to me, like I've said, you can't beat this. You can't beat this. So now we get the Markdown. So we have that in here. Ooh, wait. Scraper URL to Markdown. There's, ooh, wait. Do we have something? We don't get anything back. What's happening? Okay, so I got a little bit into a rabbit hole there, because apparently OpenAI is really tricky with scraping any information from their website. It's very much restricted by Cloudflare. So for now, we have the RSS feed, we have the link, and we also have a description. I feel like for now, this is also enough for our newsfeed. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. Now, Anthropic doesn't have an RSS feed, but I found this very useful repository from this gentleman over here, Old Shanks. And pretty much he created RSS feeds for some very interesting, some interesting websites, among it Anthropic. So I'm just literally trying to figure out how it works, but we need the XML files over here. So the raw XML file links. So we get the news, we get the engineering, and we get the research, engineering, research. So I'm just trying to get all of that. And then let's say, okay, look, there are 3 feeds for Anthropic. Can you combine them in a single Anthropic scraper that every time we run it, we just consider all of these feeds and we process them in the same way? Let's check this out. So we're now building a similar type of scraper, similar to what we saw over here. So we have the OpenAI one where actually we're not going to work with this because this is not working, unfortunately, right now. So for now, we're just going to get the articles, which is good. And let's actually have a look at what this looks like. So now I'm going to do if name main scraper. Let's see. Top results. In the last 7 days, we have 3 articles. So let's see what that looks like. So we have our scraper. Let's get the articles. Let's print the articles. Here's 2. Let's make it 100. We still have two articles. Or is it more? How many articles is it? From when is this? Okay, this is very recent. So this is good. We're getting the information. Yes, let's see. We have the title and we have the description. Okay, so now let's actually have a look. I don't think Anthropic will let us do this either, but let's just have a quick look to see, hey, can we do this or is that not allowed? Let's just do it here from docling import document converter. Yes, we get a document converter and will this work? Oh, I think actually Anthropic allows us to do it. We have the document to Markdown. Anthropic is fine with that. That is cool. Okay. Beautiful. Let's come back over here. Okay, Anthropic is actually fine with getting the context of the pages with doclink. Can you add the function to the class as well, similar to how we did with OpenAI? Keep it very lean. I have an example snippet below the file. All right, and then we lean back again. A little bit of a stretch in here. Make sure to keep moving, guys, in these long coding sessions. There we go. Okay, let's see what it is coming up with. It's going to create the converter, and we have that in here. Oh, wait. I don't like this. Get articles. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is good. But I still want this. Yes. Scraper. Articles. Article number 2. What is that going to be? The URL. List out of range. What we got? We only have 2. So we need this URL. Project fetch robot dog. What is this? Okay, there we go. And we have project. Okay, so that is cool. What is this? Project fetch robot dog. Well, now you know. Otherwise, I would have never found this project. Seems pretty cool. All right, but we're making great moves here. So we got our scrapers because remember in the beginning I said, look, I want YouTube, I want OpenAI, and I want Anthropic in there. Now it's actually time to start to create a pipeline around this so we can pretty much get all of this. And then I want to get it into a database. So that's what we're going to focus on next. Okay, so let's come back to our agent one more time and let's see if I don't want to reset the context just yet. So what we're going to do, okay, so now we got the core scrapers in place. We got YouTube, we got Anthropic, and we got OpenAI. Now what I want you to do is I want you to create some kind of like runner that brings everything together where we can, first of all, look, there's one more thing. We need some place to store which channels, YouTube channels, we want to monitor. You can keep it very simple for now. And that we should store that somewhere. And then for Anthropic and for OpenAI, it's always the same, the input. And then we want to create some kind of like function where we can kick off this process and then also identify how far we want to go back. And ideally, we want to set it to 24 hours in the beginning. Where do we place that and what would that look like? Try and keep it as simple as possible. Okay, so this is always interesting to see what it will now come up with, right? So I am assuming it will create, I hope so, in the app folder, we will get some kind of like a runner.py or anything like that. So let's see what it will come up with. So we have a config. We have the YouTube channels. Okay, so that's okay. It's okay for now in here. We have the runner. That's also okay. Yeah, we don't want that app in here. We want scrapers. Yes. What is it doing? It's creating a main.py outside of the app folder. Okay, is that... Okay, that can be the interface for now. That can be the interface. Okay, we get the results. Import sys. Yeah, okay. We get the results. Okay, beautiful. So now what I want to do is, instead of using my own channel, I actually want to experiment with Mr. Matthew Berman, which is an excellent sort because he's like always on fire with the latest news. So let's actually get his YouTube channel ID. Let's see there. Maybe there's... What am I doing? Yeah. There's probably a way better method to do this, but for now, it works. So if you're following along, what? No, we reached the daily limit. Oh, really? Is there another website? Find YouTube. So this is definitely not ideal. So where are we? Let's give me the channel name. So you probably want to set up the YouTube API for it. Oh, we need to solve this. Yeah. Watch ad. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, we got it. We got the channel ID. Perfect. Now also, let's just actually... So this is Dave, and let's just put this in here, and just so we don't... This is not Scott Schulman or whatever that is. This is Matthew Berman. Make sure to get your name right, buddy. Cool. Okay. So we got the channel. Now let's see if I like what's going on over here. So we initialize the YouTube scraper, OpenAI, Anthropic, and we got all of that. And we're going to fetch the YouTube videos, and we're going to extend the list. Okay, so that's great. Yeah. Get latest video. Do we do the scraping in there? Feed parse. RSS. Yes. So I don't think we're getting the transcripts in here. Why am I typing? And do we already want to get those, or do we want to get it in a later stage, where first we just get all of the items, store that into a database, and then later trigger the processing? I'm just going to ask this because this is more of an architectural decision where I'm thinking about what makes more sense. Yeah, so I think this is cleaner. Recommendation, 2-stage approach. 1, store metadata, no transfer, fast, get all the items, and then process. So this can also be done in the background to process. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's do it like this. This is totally fine. So it returns everything. So now we go on to the next step. This is going to be a big one. So I want to make sure that we check in or commit everything over here, so we can start with the clean slate. Let's let AI come up with a beautiful commit message over here. Okay, so what I want to do next is I first want to set up the foundation for the database. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a simple Docker Compose file with just a PostgreSQL database. You can come up with all of the default usernames and passwords for it. Make sure to create an example.environment.env kind of like file for that. And also in the app folder, create a database folder where we are going to create the SQL Alchemy database models. And then we create a single script called create tables to initialize all of the tables. And I also want you to create a simple CRUD interface or repository, whatever you want to call it, to interact with the database. As you go and do that, then I will try and run the Docker container so we can set it up, connect locally, and then make sure that we can create the tables and then test if we can actually get the YouTube videos and the OpenAI articles and the Anthropic articles in there. And then I also want you to adjust the runner, so the run scrapers, to not just get the articles, but we need to put them into the database. This is a big one. And you can also see, like, right now how important it is to understand the process, right? I've done this many times already before, so I can give very clear instructions as to I want a Docker Compose file, I want SQL Alchemy, database models. So, and I understand that I now need to, wait. This needs to be in the Docker folder. Let's see, .env.example. Okay, it's creating all of that stuff. So let's actually move this to Docker. Let's see, .env.example. We can also for now plug that in here. Example.env. That's the correct syntax. Oh, and then of course we need to spell that correctly. So we have that in here. We have, okay, so this is doing a lot of stuff. Okay, we have Docker Compose. Let's see if this is all like old stuff. We don't need it anymore. So there's actually a version. Let's see, what's this? We do a volume, we do a health check. Okay, that all makes sense. We do, yeah. So now let's see if Docker is running on our machine while this is still going at it. Okay, starting up Docker. Now we need to, first of all, check if this all works. So let's see, because this can always be really tricky. And like I've said, for the main project that we're working on at Datalumina, we always use our GenAI Launchpad. So if you go to launchpad.datalumina.com, you can find more about this. So this is actually a product that we offer. So this is not completely like open source and free to use, but this is our production boilerplate that we use for all of our production builds, really. And it takes care of not only like how do you set up your project and how do you define your agents and work with that, but it also takes care of this little of this like annoying infrastructure setup that we're now going to deal with, because this can get really tricky to configure everything correctly. So now what I'm just going to do, I'm going to do Docker Compose. AI always gives it with a dash, but that's outdated. Docker Compose up, and let's run it in the detached mode. To see if this actually runs, it's going to pull Postgres right now, and just a Postgres 17 instance. If you've never worked with Docker before, you might want to do a quick check to a tutorial on how this all works, because otherwise this can feel like magic. But now you can see we have our AI news aggregator running, and then what I just need to do is, let's see, we have our setup in here, and I'm going to open up Table Plus, which is a database GUI that I like to use. You can use anything really that you want. So let's see, local, I'm going to like do a new connection. I think if we can also just do localhost, I think that should be fine. We have the default port, right? And then let's see what usernames the AI came up with. So we have user is going to be Postgres, password is going to be Postgres, and the database is going to be AI news aggregator. And then let's see if this connects. I think this connects. So we are connected right now. So that's all looking good. So quick note, what we're doing, we created a Docker Compose file where we say, look, we want to take the Postgres 17 Docker image. So if you just like, if you look that up, you can find that if you go to the Docker Hub, Postgres official, here you can find the official Docker images. By now there's already 18 in there, 17 will do just fine. That's running now locally inside the Docker container, and we expose that through localhost using the credentials that we've specified over here. So that's why I can now connect it to it locally using Table Plus. So that's how that is working. So let's clear that up and see where we are at, because let's see, for some things it didn't listen completely. So, oh wait, we have create tables. What's this? Create tables. Let's just keep all of this. I don't want this in here, and I want the Docker stuff in here. Did they make any changes? We can get rid of this. The .env.example. Do I need this Postgres users? Just trying to see where it actually got the. It says it's setting a default value. Okay, yeah, got it. Because like I've said, it's not using this example.env right now. So we probably want to have that over here. we're going to do a little bit of tinkering here. This is always a little bit tricky to get right. But now what we want to do, we also asked it to, so we did a lot of stuff. So if we go to in here, you can see it adjusted the runner. So in here, now it also has a lot of stuff. So we first ask it to create the models. So we can come in here. Look, this is now using SQL Alchemy, which should already be part of our Markdown. I have no idea. Why is this in here? Not sure why we need it. We need to check that later. So we have SQL Alchemy. Okay, that's in here. We created the database tables in here. So this is going to create tables where we're going to have YouTube videos, OpenAI articles, Anthropic articles. And these are going to be separate tables. Later down the line, I think this makes sense for now. We could even standardize this, but for now, this will work. And because we do this, let's see, we have a repository in here, which we can use to interact with all of the tables, and we have a connection. Look, and now here, this is where we're going to need to make a copy of our example.env and create the actual.env, because the database connection is going to use this. So this is how it's going to get the database URL. It's going to create the engine, and then here to create tables, what this is going to do, it's going to use the engine to create all. And this is why SQL Alchemy is so nice. We can just run this and the table should be successfully created. So what we can now do, we need to start this, and now we can do uv run Python create tables. And let's see. This is then always tricky because there was a file. I'm just going to double check that to see, I'm just going to run this. Because we could probably even do it here, because exactly. So now you get the import errors, right, that we're getting over here. So now if we just get rid of this, because we're over here, let's actually, this is the more proper way to do it. So run it directly. This should probably be it. Let's have a look at what this is doing. Tables created successfully. Okay, let's come over here, refresh this. YouTube videos, video ID title, yes, okay. This is perfect. Okay, so what did we just do? What we just did is first of all, when we go through this and when we have annoying Python being whiny about import paths, what we can always do is you can import sys and path, and then you can do the following. You can take the path from the file, which is, it will then say, look, this is the current file that we're in. And then because we're using the path library, what you can do is you can call .parent on this. And then depending how deep nested you are, so we're in database, then we can go in app, and then we go into the root. Then that means we have to call .parent 3 times. And then if you come in here, can you see this? Yeah. Then we go to the root of the project. And then from there, we can do an import one more time where we say, look, now we know that we are in the root of the root of the project has been added to the path, and Python can look into that. So now if you do app database models, it understands app database models and it can import that. It's just one of those things where, at least for me, I've been working with this language for over 10 years and this still messes me up a lot of the times, but it worked. We have created the tables, and now the tables are exactly the same as how they are specified over here. So that's the beauty of using something like SQL Alchemy, where we don't have to mess with actual SQL and we can do everything Python based. And now all of so if I could go in here and let's say, how do I do this? Open the structure. So look, you can see it has the correct data types. So that is beautiful. Okay, so now we have that. The connection is working, everything is working. Make sure whenever you're working with it, this should be running. So this should be green in here. If you get any errors or something like a port is not working, make sure you have nothing else running. Some applications may override that. So now let's come back to the runner and see what we're doing. So now you see, instead of just getting the videos, it's now creating the data models that it is expecting. So let's see. Yeah, I think for now this works. I think we could later down the line, we could make this a little bit cleaner because I don't really like this dictionary structure in here, which is not really type safe. Very easy to make mistakes. But now if we have the runner, we can run the scraper and it will go through YouTube, and in YouTube, it will go through our YouTube channels, which we for now have just identified our boy Matthew. And this should work. This should work. And we have the main.py, so we can either run it from here, but for now, let's just run it in here. Let's see. I want to see the examples show up in here. So let's give it a spin. Let's see, what do we have in here? We're running it like this. You know what? Actually, to make sure don't have to worry about all of those imports, I think it's better to just run it from here. And still, we might run into the errors. But let's have a look. There we go. Okay, this is the... Well, yeah, okay, wait. This is set up to run in the terminal using a legacy. We actually need to run this properly because it's going to ask us, is it running? There we go. Yeah, it's going to check for an argument. So we got 1 YouTube video, 0 OpenAI articles, 0 Anthropic articles. Okay. But it's a start. Let's come back over here. So this should still be empty. This should be empty. And then we should have Mr. Matthew over here who uploaded a video. Let's see, where's the URL? In the last 24 hours. So now we have do we have the title? Yes. Is this the end of the AI bubble? I think we already saw that, right? So this is a fresh video. 19 hours ago. Okay, so the math is working. I love this. Okay, so now let's check. Do we have a video ID? Is this... Now what I want to check, if I run this one more time, will it overwrite it or add it, give an error? Because we don't want to have duplicate data in there. So let's run this one more time. I think, okay, this is good. There's no duplicate data. So then we can check that by coming to our database models to see, okay, look, how is this working? So for YouTube, we have our video ID is the primary key. So, and whenever you set a primary key within a database, you cannot have another primary key, so that it will override it. So, but let's actually check how that is implemented. Okay, beautiful. This is working. How is the avoiding duplicate data implemented? I see there are primary keys in there, and it's totally fine to first just extract all of the videos for the past 24 hours. But then when we want to push it to the database, whenever there is a new, I think let's say whenever there is a similar ID, we want to... Do we want to override it? No, we don't. Then we just want to skip it. We don't want to override it. That's an architectural decision for now. I'm not sure if that is the best case, because the thing is, this is just the metadata, right? It's not the content. So like, let's say I'm just thinking about a blog post, maybe added or updated or changed. So let's see how this is checking how duplicates are handled, updates. So it's now adding the repository to make sure that's updated repository to skip duplicates instead of updating them. Okay. It's not really going to affect us really much at this stage, especially if we run it every 24 hours. But if you want to run it faster, for example, then let's see, then you may run into some issues there. So this is now changed. So this is now in the repository, right? So yeah, it's updating all of this. And like, this is now the beauty, since we're using SQL Alchemy, all of this is what you call the database repository, where look, this is how we create an OpenAI article. But because we have the models, like I don't really even have to look at this, and I can trust AI to do this really well because it literally has an example of, look, here's how you need to do it. Connection works, we created a table, these are the models, and this is the repository that we now use to interact with this. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to actually expand this a little bit to say, look, ours is... Actually, I don't like this for now. Let's just do 150. Let's just give it a spin. And I think so. Right now I can also run it like this. So this will take us time. There we go. 4 YouTube videos, 7 articles from Anthropic and 2 from OpenAI and 2 from Anthropic. Okay, let's have a look at what this looks like. There we go. So we have the GUID. There we have all of it. This is now beautiful. We have the title in there. Okay, so this is starting to look like something, guys. This is now we can start working with this. We have a flexible system. Ooh, here's one thing. This is tricky. Why is this? So the video ID. What is? Can you have a look at this for one of the IDs? It is the URL instead of the ID. Is this maybe because it starts with an underscore? Can you look into this? And then let's just plug in that image in here. We can just stop this, plug in the image. There we go. Okay, so that is something. So OpenAI. Let's see. So it uses this is okay. It uses the URL for Anthropic as well. And that's totally fine for now. YouTube videos. Yeah, this is an issue. This is not, we don't want that. Okay, fix it. The method didn't handle YouTube short. Oh, it's a shorts. Okay. YouTube shorts. What did we update? Ooh, I should have do. There we go. If yes, okay, so that looks good. Refute that specifically. Okay, keep all. Now, what if we get rid of this? Save it. And come back to, yes, come back to over here. Let's first make sure we commit everything again. Okay, so we are good in this, but now we're just going to run this one more time. And let's see if it correctly handled the YouTube short in there as well. There we go. Okay, coming back to our database, YouTube videos, refresh. There we go. Now we have that nice and neat in there. Do we, just thinking, because we are going to run probably into issues with getting a transcript from a short. So I'm just thinking whether we actually want to include shorts. I don't want to include shorts. I don't want that. Can you actually make it so that shorts are skipped entirely? I don't want them in the database. Because the thing is, this is not really, shorts are usually on channels are usually snippets from longer form videos as well. So for now, I'm just going to make the decision to not do that. So we can see, look, here it is. If shorts in entry link, we continue. We don't want it. Let's do it like this. And now if we run this, I think, or I believe it will not be in there, but it should also say that we found 3 videos. Yes, you see, 3 videos instead of 4. So we apply the filtering, we run that. Okay. Hey, we're making amazing progress. Okay, so now, like I said, this is going really well. We're already making some big moves in here. So now I pretty much want to create, I want to create the agent. Or do we first, okay, so there's one more thing that's getting the, no, we want stage 2. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to work on stage 2 of the processing pipeline, where for Anthropic, for all the articles or blog posts or for all the entries that are in the database that don't have the Markdown extracted from the page, we want to run that and get that. And similar for YouTube, we want to get the transcripts from the videos that are in the database. And do we need to extend the database structure in order to do this? What would make the most sense? Do we create another linked table, or just do we extend the current tables and add it at the same records, which to me sounds easier? What do you think? Let's ask it first, because again, this is an architectural decision. So what I just asked, pretty much like, look, if we have the Anthropic article, we know that with docling, we can also get the full text. We could simply create another column in this database where we plug that, or we create a separate table for it, which would be a little bit nicer, easier to scale, but I think for now I just want to extend the schema because it just makes things easier. I want to extend the column. So what is it saying? It's reviewing database structure recommendation, extend the current tables with new columns, reasons one-on-one. Yeah, exactly. That's easier. No joins. Yeah, propose changes. Create a processing script that queries YouTube videos where transcript is null. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, let's do the Anthropic one first. Let's start there. Okay, so now what it's going to do, it's, look, yeah, because we need to extend the database models. There we go. So now this is in here as well, but this is not directly reflected in the database. So this is typically what you would create a database migration file for. But yeah, like I said, so now look, since it's early stage and we're in development, what I can now do is I could pretty much run this, create tables, but now I'm assuming this is all empty again. Like, is that the case or? Wait. What did it do? Does this actually persist? Where's the, I also don't see the category. I don't see the table in it. Wait. Where are we? Tables created successfully, update the database schema. Yeah, run the processor, process articles without markdown or process specific number. What's going on? We got the Anthropic articles. We have markdown in there as well. So it should be where? What's going on? Okay, so now we have a little bit of tinkering here to figure out why, if we run the create tables again, why it's not. Let's actually check. When I run the create tables.py again, nothing happens. Is this because the table already exists? How does SQL Alchemy usually handle that? So I know that if you want to do it proper, you want to do database migration. Right now, we don't need that. It's completely okay to override it. Yeah, so that's the thing. So let's see. Yeah, okay. So now this is going to be temporary file. Yeah, this is a temporary file to just add. Will this run? I think this will run. Yeah. So the create tables, we do create all this. So it said this only creates tables if they don't exist. So I could have either said, look, I'm going to remove everything and run it one more time. But now I have a separate temporary script that I can now get rid of. And now if I come in here, you can see now we have the markdown. We have the markdown column in here. Okay, so that works. So now let's get rid of this. That's it. And then let's see, we have that in there. And what was the other advice or next steps? So we have that, and then we can do run the processor. So that's the process anthropic.py. We have the scraper, we have the repo, articles. Yes, filled for article. Okay. So what it created a service to process the Anthropic articles. I think I like this, but we may want to refactor, well, because what is it doing with the scraper? Yeah, okay. We may want to refactor this later because now pretty much what it will do is we'll say, look, I'm going to like query everything that's in here. Where, let's see, how's it doing that? Read, where's the repository? Look, so in the repository, it added 2 new functions in here to say, look, I want to get the Anthropic articles without markdown. So we'll pretty much say we're going to apply a filter. So this works well. This is very efficient. And then we're going to update that as well. So that's good. It works for now. Let's continue with it. So it's going to say, look, we have the scraper, we have the repository. Let's get all of the articles. Let's try and scrape them using URL to markdown, which is the doclink converter. Going very fast right now, but this is just going through everything and also like myself trying to understand it. If we manage to get the markdown, is this in a try? Like probably we should try and accept and catch this. So it won't error. Let's see, try if markdown, else failed. Yeah, otherwise it's empty. I think this is better. Okay, so it's going to do that. And let's see, we can process that. I just want to run everything. I don't want to limit in here. Is it optional? Yeah. No need to limit this. Okay, let's see. because we only have two, what is it? We have 2 articles in here. So let's see if we can get the Markdown. Let's run this. Boom. No module named app, of course not. That's where we have the annoying thing again. We need to do this. There we go. This should work. Or is it? No, I don't. This works. Okay, total articles, processed, filled. Perfect. Let's refresh. Ooh, look at this. We got the. Ooh, this is not pretty. But let's see. We got the Markdown. We got the Markdown. Let's see. Test.md. We got the Markdown. This is perfect. Okay, it works. It works. That is perfect. So that is now coming together nicely. Okay, so then next, I want to do this with YouTube. Okay, so now let's do the same thing with YouTube, where for all of the videos that don't have a transcript yet, we try and get the transcript. But we also want to make sure that whenever that fails for some reason, we maybe mark it with transcript is not available or something like that. So we don't like run into loops and issues where every time we try and process videos, because I know not for all videos this is possible. Okay, again, before AI goes crazy, I need to commit this. So if process Anthropic, okay, so this is another, we can use this as part of our like main runner down the line, where we can say, look, we're going to fill up the database, and then for specific sources within our database, we want to run this extra processing on top of it. So let's see, it's doing stuff. What is it doing? It's expanding the repository. Yeah. So this is a very clean pattern, as you can see, where all the stuff that you need to do with the database, you just add it to your repository. Yeah. Later down the line, if it gets really big, you may want to think about restructuring this or reusing some patterns. But for now, this all works. So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So now let's see. So, okay, we have the repository and we have the process YouTube. So then transcript, we have a marker in there. What's it doing? I like that, by the way. Okay, we do try accept. Yes. Okay. Let's get rid of this. I also don't want this. And yes. Okay, now one thing that I know about using the YouTube transcript API, because we're using the YouTube internal API, it could be that at some point, especially if you follow a lot of sources, YouTube will temporarily IP block you. There is a way around this. It's quite easy, but you need to pay around like $4, $5 per month for a service. I probably will add that to it, because otherwise we may already run into issues right now. But let's see if it works. So let's actually, is the database already updated? Probably not, right? How did it do that? Did it run it on its own? Or was that always part of the game already? Okay, cool. Okay, good thinking there from the AI. Let's run this. So now for 3 videos, it should get the transcript. I keep tabbing back to this one. I don't want that. Sorry for the jumping. Let's run this. What will it do? Total videos processed unavailable. Okay, this is good. Refresh. Ooh, don't you love seeing this? We got a transcript. So again, what does this look like? Just dumping it in here. Okay, so it's a long string. Okay, this is good. This is good. We got another piece of the puzzle. And like I've said, like if I'm going to show you YouTube transcript API. For now, I don't run into errors, but I want to show you this. It's on the GitHub. Where is it? It's on their GitHub. There we go. If you have a lot of videos, at some point you're going to hit a wall. And if there's a workaround, if you get this request blocked, IP blocked, you can go to web share. I have an account in here. Let's see, pricing. So it's crazy cheap. It's what I have. You should get rotating residential. This is the one that you need. Yeah, this is the one. You need a rotating residential. I got the cheapest plan. That's enough. That's enough that you need. And then what you can do is you can establish the YouTube transcript API with the proxy config. So that's how that works. So if you then come to the YouTube scraper surface, let's see. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to build it in optional just to show you what that would look like, because YouTube in here, get transcript. Please extend this so that when env-vars are present, we use the proxy, you don't see this, and otherwise no proxy. Okay, proxies, none. Then we do we need a host? No, we just need username, password. So I'm just giving it the actual example here because it is too much going on here. It can be way simpler. Yeah, that's it. If proxy username and password, proxy config is that. Proxy config is none. Is that acceptable? Yeah, that is acceptable. That's good. So then you should get your proxy username and password. So that is from WebShare. You could get those credentials. It's explained. Yeah, like I said, it's explained in here. That's how you can bypass that. But for now, we're good, and we can continue with another phase. All right, so what we're going to do right now is, given all of this, I want to start working on the digests. So what I pretty much want to do is I want to go through everything that's in here, and I want to create a quick little summary of the information that is available. And that we can then later use that in order to aggregate the feed and then also create a filter around. So let's see what we can do here. So, okay, I'm going to do the following. Okay, now next I want to create the agent, and pretty much what I want to do is I want to loop through all of the articles in the database, whether that's YouTube, OpenAI, Anthropic, and I want to create another table, which is going to be the digest table. And in there, we're going to link to the article, so it should be a database link. We should also have the URL in there. And then I want to have a 2 to 3 sentence summary and a title for that digest article or element. And I want to create the summary using OpenAI. We're going to use the responses API, and we're going to use the GPT 4.1 mini model with an instruction to set the context, to say, look, this is your role, this is what you should do, you should create a summary on this. So and then I want the responses API to return a structured output using the text format. So I want you to look up the latest information of the responses API to make sure we get it right. Then I want you to build out the agent in the agent folder, and then also make sure to create the new database model so that we have that. And then create another kind of runner or something like that where we can, or a processor. Is this a surface? Yeah, I think, this should be another surface where we we can call it process digest, to go through everything to create the short summaries, where the input of that, of course, should be everything that we have within the database row. Okay, this is a big one, but I believe you can do this. Give it a little bit of extra motivation. Okay, definitely want to do a check-in here because we're going a little bit crazy here. It's going to be because actually you should first establish responses API, set up your environment variables, but I'm just already go ahead and say look, we need an OpenAI API key because that's what we're going to need. Let's see, have that in here, make sure we add that to the config as well. And while we let everything run over here, I'm going to quickly plug that in there, stop the recording for you. Oh no, what? I can actually do this. Look, now you just have to look at me. while I am secretly getting my API key. Where is it? I'm getting my API key. I'm going to plug that in there right now, save it, close it. All right. And we're back. Okay, so we created a big plan. It's going to research responses API. That's all good. Create digest, database model with article reference. Okay, boom, there we go. It's going to create the model. Let's see what it comes up with. Oh, this is a good category. That is good. Because then we can also let the LLM actually create some metadata on it. So ID, article type, that's good. Digest agent. This is good. So now I can also do this. Because now look, because since it's a new table successfully created, refresh, digests. And we have it in here. So that's good. We're moving fast here. We're moving fast. We have the digest agent, digest output. Title summary. This is okay. Verifying the outputs. What are we doing? Parsed. Yeah, if context. Okay. I already see some mistakes that we need to course correct here, but we're getting... Oh yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, wait. Keep all. Let's actually, first of all, I never really like it when this is all weird like this. So let's actually just grab that, set the prompt at the top. Yeah. Okay, system prompt is prompt. What's this? I missed that. Wait. How's this? We have one more thing over here. So we also have the user prompt. Let's just first see if it works, but OpenAI responses. And then what do I need? I just want structured output. And then I want the first example in here. Yes. And then I say, use this approach, not the beta version. Because it's using, I noticed that it's using client beta chat completions, so it's not using the responses API in here. So just give it this example. So look, you need client responses parse. This is what I want you to do. And what else were we touching? So we created the models, so that's good. We created a repository to update the articles. That's good. Process digest. That's also good. And then generate digest. So this is create a digest for this article type, title, content. I think this is good to limit that to some degree. Yeah, let's actually just create, can actually just like use some new lines in here just to, that should work. So we have the inputs. You know what? We can just use the instructions. It's just going to be, yeah, GPT-4 mini temperature. Where's the temp? 0.7. KKK. ESD is now working. ESD is going to work. Because we're doing a lot here. You are an expert AI news analyst summarizing technical articles. I also want to have a category in here. I want this to be a literal. You know what? Let's actually not do that for now. I think we can later do that, but for now I don't. Okay, how do we run this? We need OpenAI API key. Because if we go in here, we do load.env. Yeah, we got that. That's good. Then we need process digest. So let's see, everything should be in place because we have we almost saw my API key here, but I'm using 1Password, so it's hidden. Good tip. That's one of my favorite apps, by the way, 1Password. Back to the database. The digest, it's empty. Let's run through this. We only have a couple of articles in there. So let's just run it. What is it doing? It's doing this, a similar setup. We do a try. Well, right now we might just want to set it to 1. Nah, fuck it. We'll go, we'll go crazy. We'll go crazy. YOLO mode. Run it. This would be pretty sick if we get everything right on the first try. Because what is actually, we got the ID, we got the article type, title, summary, created. What is article type? Is that, I think that's going to be either YouTube, Anthropic, or OpenAI. So we see the source where it's coming from. But this is going to take some time because it's going to do a lot of chat completion. So actually, already while this is running, what I want to do is, can you create some logging? Oh, it's already done. Can you create some logging on processing the digests so we can see which video it's currently processing? But let's see. There we go. We got it. We got the ID. Okay, it's not linking, but still fair. This works for now. Keep it simple. We got the article ID. That's cool. We got, yeah, okay. We got the URL. That's good. We got the title. We got a summary, and we got to create it. Ooh, this is our daily digest, guys. This is the news feed. This is the news feed. So now we're literally almost there. We're almost there. Okay, we added some logging. I think that's going to help. So, oh wait. Is the .env? Is there a git ignore in here? Ooh, look, I am almost committing my .env to the version control. So with this, what I always do, for example, let me get into our GenAI Launchpad where we just have the, let's see, this is a sneak preview, guys, of what's inside the Launchpad, what we build all of our client projects with. So I'm just like grabbing this git ignore because it's really extensive. Plugging that in here. Let's see, this is all good. Yes, that's not in here. Let's commit this, sync the changes. So we have an agent, we have our digest agent, which can run this. And now what I want to do, I want to do two things. Okay, awesome. This is working. Now what I want to do is I want to create the aggregator that's going to, first, let's actually take, how are we going to do this? No, first, okay, let's do this first. We're going to create another agent, which we're going to call this, what do we call this? How is that called? That is it's not the director or the orchestrator. How do you how do you call someone at a news station that does the orchestration or curation of what news needs to be put there? I want an agent for that. So I want you to give it a name, and what that agent should do is it should take the new digests from the last 24 hours, and then what it should do, it should have a system prompt, and then it should have a user profile and interest, and then it should rank the articles from the digests from the last 24 hours. It should rank that according to the user profile. So I want you to come up with a user profile. The user profile is pretty much, look, I am interested in XYZ. This is my background. This is all AI related, so it should be tailored towards that. So I want you to create a place in the project where we can have a user profile. Then we're going to grab the information from the database and rank it using another agent that also uses the responses API. So use the exact same setup as you had with the digest agent, but make sure that you create a solid pydantic model around it so we get the ranked list. And you should come up with a way to rank it. Maybe we should first give it a score. That could also maybe be done, where we give it a score as to how it aligns to the user. What's the best way to rank things with an LLM? You decide. Okay, this is going to get pretty cool. You understood the assignment. I think this is fun. So we're going to grab everything last 24 hours, let the LLM based on the profile look at everything, rank it, and then I want to select how much is in here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. Perfect. I want to do 10. We're going to do top 10, so you get a daily digest of top 10, and then we're going to piece everything together. This is cool. Curator. So it's decided to call it the curator. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, we get a score using Pydantic, rank, reasoning. That is cool. Yeah, list ranked articles. Beautiful. Now I just want to check. Yeah, this is good. This is good. This is good. Again, I never like it when you have those system prompts all ugly in here, but hey, it should work. So now, system prompt, curator agent, build system prompts. Where's the user profile? Do we have a user profile? We have a user profile. Yeah, background. Interesting, interesting. Okay. So now what do we have? Process curator. Okay, wait. So it actually already created a service in here, process curator, but what does it do? Where does it's going to return? Okay, this is just returning the result. That is okay. Let's just do 24 hours. Yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Because it's using the user profile. Where did it put that? Where is the user profile? From user profile, profiles. Okay, created a separate folder for that. That's okay. That's fine. What model are we using? A little bit of lower temperature model. Where are we? GPT-4o mini. Okay, that will work for now. And now we have the process curator. Okay, this is cool. So now it should run. Yeah. Okay, processing user profile. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be it's a big one because we're taking all of the articles and we're letting it generate a really big Pydantic model. So look, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So now we have the ranked list. This is beautiful, people. This is beautiful. Yeah, we got ranked list of everything. Does that make sense? Just thinking about for now, like, because this can get really big. If you have a lot of sources, you do 24 hours, this list might be really long, but it's still like, this is what the aggregator does, right? We need to go through all of this because we need to find the right information. Okay, so then this is the output that we get. So this is awesome. So what the, what's with the .env file? Why is that tracked in here? It's probably, I may have just already uploaded it, pushed it to my private repository. Is it in there? See, it's in there. It's already in there. So let's see. Let's actually go over here. We're good because the API key is not in there. So what I'm going to do is that something you can do? I think you can do it, right? Can I delete this file? This is like really like one of those things where this is so annoying. Okay, here's actually how I would solve this. You might think like, hey, I'm crazy for this, but I would literally say, hey, look, I accidentally pushed my .env file to GitHub. I now added it to the git ignore, but it's not correctly recognizing that. We first need to remove it from remote and then keep the local file as is because that contains all the current information. What would be the GitHub commands to do this? Yes, that's how I fixed that, even though having more than 10 years of experience working with Python. Git is just like, I just know how to use the basics. Whenever there's something annoying like that, I just know that this is the easiest way to do this. So commands use. So now I come in here. Now this should be gone. So you can see this is now gone. And now in here, it's also, the file is still in here, but it's not tracked anymore. So we fixed it. And now I don't have to remember all of the Git commands in here. And again, you don't want to do this in a production environment. You don't want to do it there. That's why I have my co-founder, Joris, software engineer. He's like the lead engineer on all of the project. Whenever we do crazy stuff like this, he's in charge. I just work on my own branch so I can mess with things. He's in control. Okay, let's continue because we are making great progress. So now we have a curator. So now I can come back to, let's see, where were we? Yeah, okay, we are back over here. Let's think, what do we need to do right now? We need to generate the email. Okay, now next, what I want you to do is I want you to create another agent. This is going to be the email agent. And what this is going to do, this is going to take the output from the curator agent, and it's going to take the best 10 digest articles. So it's going to limit it to 10. And then it's going to create an email structure around that. And I will next figure out how to do this. But what I first want to do is I want to have the ranked elements. And then I wanted to give the agent should create an introduction summary to say the user hey, name. So for example, hey, Dave, here is your daily digest of AI news for, and then insert the date. So we should also, in the profile, we should also have the name. So you can put Dave in there. And it should first use the responses API. You can use GPT 4.1 mini to generate a quick little introduction as to what's about to come in the top 10 ranked articles. And then we'll use that later with the ranked list in order to generate the email and send it. That's going to be pretty cool, right? This is pretty exciting. But now I need to figure out how to send email. So now we switch to we do multiple agents in parallel. What's the easiest way to send an email to myself using my own email address to my own email address using Python? I ideally don't want to really create any external accounts or use paid services. I'm looking for the simplest way possible. If there's a really simple free solution that does require an account, let me know. I just don't want to over-engineer things. I already have the content. I just need to send the email. Give me a list of options. That's how we do it. So now we let this run on the new GPT 5.1 model. Come back over here. We have our email agent, which, look, so this is now going to get greetings, introduction. Yeah, we should also have the user profile in here. We have the name. I'm a researcher now. That sounds cool. Email agent, digest, we have the prompts, okay, all good. We have the ranked articles, this is nice. This is good, yeah. That's a lot actually, but it looks good. Now let's get into the process email. So what does it do? So we first get the we get the curator agent, we get the email agent, we get the digests based on the hours, that's good. Then we do rank. Yeah, okay, so we do the ranking in this as well because it needs to work together. That's good. And then if not ranked articles, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then we get the introduction. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. This is already AI is so good, guys. It's so good. This is going to give us the content of our email. Look, this is going to take some time, but it's going to rank it, and it's going to give us the structure. The greetings, introduction. This is it. Of course, I want this to be in a snug little Pydantic model as well, but that's for the next step. So how long does it take? Hey Dave, here's your daily digest of AI news for November 13, 2025. Get ready for an exciting dive in the world of AI with today's top stories from groundbreaking advancements. There we go. That is so cool. Awesome. This works. This is really good. One thing, I want the email. So now the dictionary that we're essentially creating, I want that to be a Pydantic model. And so with the introduction, greeting, introduction, articles, total, rank, top N, that's good. And then maybe I've missed it, but is the URL also in here? Because I want to have the title and then the short little summary, but then also I want the URL of the, I want the URL in there as well. And please format this as Markdown, where it's not a numbered list. So you get the top 10 articles. I don't want it to be the list. I want it to be with sections and headers. So we can then convert it into an actual nice readable format. Make sure to push this and let's give this one more spin, this baby. So, okay, this is going right now. Everything running. Okay, let's get back to GPT. What we want to do, use your existing email account. Okay, this is usually the simplest real solution. Python has an SMTP lib. How does it work? with Gmail using an app password. You have Gmail account, 2FFAs on, you create an app password in your Google account. Let's see if this works. I've never done something like this. I've used plenty of email providers. All right, so let's actually see if this works. I created some environment variables and I was just Googling how do you create an app password. Apparently you need a personal Gmail account for this. So I'm just going to follow along. So it's going to be the AI news agent that's going to send. Let's see, I'm going to quickly switch over here and create it because now I see a beautiful password on the screen. I'm going to copy that. Let's see, and I'm going to plug that into my environment variables. Let's see, let's do it like this. Okay, close it out. Okay, so let's see, I updated the example at ENV, so you have my email app password. And again, I have no idea if this works. So this is in here. Let's actually come back. So I have the AI news agent. Okay, so send email. What I can do, what we do. So we do the login and then we do message. Yeah, okay, so I do from my email to my email. So that's good. So I'm sending it to myself. Test from Python. Does this actually work? Does it work like this? App password. Key error. It's brackets. We need like this. Parentheses. Did I mess up something? Oh, wait. I'm just completely this is what we need. ChatGPT giving me weird information here. Okay, we got a weird little response error. What's this? Okay, this doesn't seem to be as easy. Okay, let's actually have a look at this example over here. I found the blog post, how to send emails in Python with Gmail, SNMP API. Now I'm just going to pretty much say, look, follow this guide. Yeah, okay, so this is a new one for me. So like I've said, quick sidestep. So for a lot of tools and products that we have, we use Resend. It's a really nice tool where you can programmatically set up email if you want to do it more professionally. Right now, I don't care about that and I don't want to create another account for this, but that's just a little side note. So let's see what we're coming up with. Okay, so it has the whole HTML config in there. Is that also in the guide? We got send emails. So this with SMTP, send emails to multiple recipients, send attachments, send HTML. Okay, but this is good because we need this. Okay, usage. What do we do? Process email. Did it already? It's definitely getting ahead of itself because we first actually need to test whether this is working. Markdown. Is that a dependency that we have? Probably need to install that. UV add Markdown. Markdown. Make sure to spell that right. Okay. Do you think this will run right now? Still not. All right, did a little bit of tinkering and I noticed that I was running the email from within the root and not from within the app folder where the environment variables live. So it added a little bit more validation in here, but fingers crossed. Now the moment of truth. It worked. Test from Python. Let's go. Hello from my script. Okay, so this is actually very simple. So you need a personal Gmail account and then you need to get the app password, and that's literally all you need to do. So again, in the example.env, my email, app password, make sure to get that in there. Let's just first do a check-in. We need a check-in with a commit, and now I'm going to actually say, okay, awesome. I just validated sending the email in email.py. Please have a look at that file and make sure that the process email implementation is actually correctly implemented, and then take the whole output that was created and then structure the HTML in such a way that we get a minimal style. So don't go crazy in there. Just do small headings, bold text, maybe some italics and the links in there, but that we get the perfect digest email. This is going to be fun. because now the email agent, we need to give it the capabilities, I think, to send the email. Or is that, what was that? Process email. So we have that in there. What's this? I don't like this. Email module path. We're creating okay. Okay, we definitely need to move this somewhere else, but it's going crazy. Okay, that was a lot. Let's keep everything. So this is good. Okay, this is good, but I don't want the email.py to live in the root of the app folder. What would be the best place to put this? Think about the structure there. So this is just a tiny thing in here, but like I've said, you know what? No, stop. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want to overcomplicate things for now. We also have the runner. We have we'll do a refactoring later. This is all good. Let's first check if it works. Wait, so now, what can we do? Can we send email? We don't need this one. We need to process email. Yeah, so we have all this. So we get the email module. It's a little bit weird that we imported from that, but like I've said, we do send email. First we generate it, and then we send it. And there's a very big IC. We have the main functionality, and then we have a whole lot of information here. I definitely don't like this, but let's try it first. And then we'll do a big refactoring. So now first what it will do, remember, right? It will pull the digests that we already created. So these are persisted. That's nice. We have that in the database. It's going to pull that from the last 24 hours, which in this case is everything. It's going to rank them. So that's what it's doing right now. It's ranking the 12 digest emails. Look, so now it's going to generate the email digest with top 10 articles. It's doing that. So it's creating it sent it already. So now it first does the introduction and then it formats everything. Okay, now this is a moment of truth, guys. Daily AI news digest. Yes. This is so cool. This is good. This is good. It links to videos. Dude, this is a product. I might even sell this. Okay, it has like, hey Dave, it starts a little bit bigger. And we have the links to the work. You got the robot dog again. This is really, really good. But we're there. This is literally it. Now we just need to deploy this and make sure we run this every 24 hours. That's so cool. So, okay, let's quickly store this. Okay, perfect. This is all working. What I now want you to do is I want you to do a final review of the app folder and the structure in there and potentially refactor where the email.py is and how we import that into the, what is it? Into the process email. I don't like that. I also don't really like in the process email, there is a very large piece of code under the if name equals main. I don't like that. And now given that we have the whole pipeline, can you generate now a single runner that we could schedule every day where we bring everything together? So remember the pipeline, right? It's first getting all of the articles, putting it into the database, then creating the summaries, and then sending you the digest email. So now I want to bring everything together in a single file that we can run. Let's do that. This is good. Okay, we got everything. So let's also see, we got this main. I think it will override this because now let's see this runner. Yeah, there we go. We get rid of the email. We put that here. Okay, is it the surface? Now we're creating the daily runner. I like that. So yeah, now this is what we want, right? We're going to do the whole shebang. Updating the root for easier execution. So we have that. This is good. Okay. So we did some refactoring. Oh shit. I should have ended a message there. So let's push this one more time. Commit and push. So we have the main, so we can run this. I'm actually going to get rid of this. Don't need this. Let's just keep it in here. If we schedule this might be useful. Okay, so now let's do final check. So we have the service. We have the email in here, which is okay. Okay. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of everything. Which we just get rid of everything because I want to 100% know that everything is working. So I'm going to do create tables, and I'm going to do this. Tables created. There we have the tables. And now I'm going to run this. Is this running? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's first doing all the scraping. That goes pretty fast. So we got our YouTube videos. We got those again. We got, let's see, we got Anthropic articles. We got no OpenAI articles because we do 24 hours. We did the 24 hours. That's the thing. Yeah. So there's actually this is literally just released, isn't it? This is literally while I was recording this is published, and we already catch it. Maryland partnership. This is how cool it is. I have no idea what this is about, but still. And it's we have our new daily digest. It's working. Email sent. So this is now a lot less because we just did the 24 hours, right? We just did the 24 hours. The thing is, before we had more, right? Because that I did a wider range. I did like 150 hours, but the daily digests, the UUID is from the day you created it. But since we run it on a daily basis, it doesn't really matter as much. But still, it would be better to have the actual dates in there. Awesome, this all works. I want to do one small refactoring. When we are creating the digests, the created at field, I want that to be the original date of the article itself. Because if we because right now, if you do a daily digest for, let's say, 2 weeks, they all have the same date. Does that make sense? What's the easiest way to fix that? Or should we maybe add another column and then use that for the filtering to get the digest from the last 24 hours? That's now what we need to think about. So it's going to check, use the article published at, yeah, okay. I'm just, for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to get rid of everything one more time. Verifying time zones. Okay, going a little bit crazy. When a digest is created at is set to the article's original published date. That's good. That's what I want, because now what we can do is, let's say, do we want to have that in the email as well? We could later add that. Since we want to run it every 24 hours, right now it doesn't really matter as much. So let's see for now what I want to do. I want to go to the database, create tables, create a table again. And now I want to run this one more time. There we go. Getting all of the transcripts, starting digesting the articles. Actually get rid of this. And then now generating and sending 3 digests. So it goes a lot quicker because we only have 3 digests from the last 24 hours. It works good. You get the idea, right? We have all of the information. So it would now be super simple to also extend this. And I have a lot of exciting stuff that I can do with it, but I want to show you the final piece of the puzzle. We're gonna do it because we want to actually deploy this so it runs. So let's see, are we good? Yes, we're good on this side. And then I'm going to say, okay, awesome, everything now works. What would now be the simplest way to put this on the server? Something like, I'm considering render, but I'm not sure if it's the best one, to package this and deploy it where we have the database deployed as well, and within the Docker container, and we schedule the main.py file to run every 24 hours. First, let's create a plan to do this. Let's actually get back to planning mode because there's so many ways to do this, right? So I'm just trying to see like what a quick and easy way to do this is. Okay, so it came up with a plan. This is going to get tricky, but we'll see what we can do here. I've never worked with render, so I know that render is just an easy way where you deploy stuff, but of course every cloud provider still has its own like nuances there, but we have a solid plan. So I'm first going to ask a couple of things, and then I'm definitely going to check out a new branch. And let's see, what do I first need to set up in render? I can create an account, but do I first need to set up a managed service using PostgreSQL, or can we all manage that from within the YAML file that we create? How does that work with render? Okay, so I need a little bit more clarity there, and then we can get into the deployment. This is probably the moment that I'm going to switch to another branch because this is now working locally. Let's see, option 1, define everything in render. That's okay, beautiful. I want to do that. Okay, here we go, boys. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Then let's execute on the plan as is. I'm going to create an account. Walk me through this step by step and start working on the code already. But before you do that, I want you to switch to another branch called deployment and work on the changes there. All right, so let's do that first and then start implementing everything. Okay, so let's give this a shot to get started. I'm not even sure if I already have an account. I'm just going to authenticate with Google over here, create the account. And by the way, guys, you can also totally like stop here with this video and just like run it yourself or schedule it on your laptop or some type of other machine. But let's see what we have. We have a workspace. I just want to, yes, okay, I have an account already. I started playing with something some time ago. Okay, good. So let's see what I need to do in here. Are we on the deployment branch? We are on the deployment branch. Yeah, that's good. We have a Docker file, updating the database connection. So now we need to OpenAI API key. We have this, and then we have the database configuration for render database user automatically provided. No need to set individual vars. Yeah, okay. Jeez, this is going fast. Okay, what do I need to do? Deployment. Okay, deployment guide, render. What do I need to do? I have the account, GitHub account with this repository, API key, Gmail account. Yeah, we got that. We have the account, verify email address, click new blueprint, connect your GitHub account if not already connected. Blueprints, create a new blueprints instant, connect a repository. Look, there we go. We're going to connect our AI news aggregator. Blueprint name AI. Yeah, AI news aggregator. Let's just keep that branch. We're going to do, wait. We're going to push all of this. I need, the deployment branch is in here right now, and we're going to call this AI news aggregator. There we go. And then render YAML file was found, but there was an issue. Unknown type. Let's retry that. Let's just plug it in there. Deploy, select the branch deployment. Render will automatically connect it. Review it. So now let's see what the issue is, because the thing is what we're doing right now is we have a deployment script over here. And this pretty much tells render what we need to do. But what is this? PSG fixing. It should be PG. Well, let's change it to PG. Okay, beautiful. And oh, what's that? It did another thing. Removing max connections, not valid. Okay. Yes, so pushing to the deployment branch. And now let's see. We're going to retry this one more time. Hey, it's this. I don't like this stuff. Let's actually give it the docs. It's also not PG. Please carefully look at the docs for the blueprint to figure out how to do this. Docker file. So it created the requirements based on the Pi project. And here you can see AI is also like venturing pretty much in the unknown, right? Because this is a relatively newer surface, and you can see it's not well trained on this. So that's why we really specifically need to give it the documentation in order to look that up. But this is literally one of the things. It could still be wrong right now. And these can be really tricky loops to figure out. This should work. fingers crossed. It is definitely different from what it was. That's good. Let's retry this. Ooh, it works. Okay, so now we need to, oh, this is cool. So now we need to plug in the variable. So what I'm going to do right now, you're going to have to look at me once more while I plug in the keys. And so I'm going to put in the email, yes, which is not that secret. And then we have the password. And then we have the OpenAI API key. Let's see. Yes. Okay, back to the screen. So that's all, everything is in there. And we're going to do deploy blueprint. Okay. Looking good so far. So let's actually, so what what is actually happening? In the Docker file, this will probably tell us what it will do. So do we already have, where's the scheduling in here? Oh, sorry, wait, we have the deployment guide. I need to follow the deployment guide. So review, so this will daily digest job. Where is this? Render will read, is it in here? It's in here. This is okay, I get it. So we're configuring the server. We have the database and we have a service, which is cron job. It's called daily digest job. And here's what we do. We have the Docker file. We schedule that, we do it, and then we do python main.py, and these are the environment variables. And then we simply just run this. It's going pretty smooth so far. If this literally deploys and works on the first try, then hats off to Composer 1. Literally. We got the green check. So we have a deployment. I think this is it. So far, like, I have no idea how this works. So we have projects, blueprints. I don't even know what the difference between a project and a blueprint is. It's an event. So, okay, let's see for what's going on over here, because this is actually going to trigger the script for the first time. Okay, and then quickly, while we wait for this to run, let's also check how you can actually connect to your database. So let's come to render over. If you go to your blueprints, we have our AI news aggregator. So here you can see we have our job and we have our DB, right? If you scroll all the way down over here, this is where you can see your database credentials. So you have hostname, port, database, username, and then also the password in here to connect with this. And then what you want to do, so the hostname can be a little bit tricky, but what you actually want to do is let's see, let me actually hide this, so you can see my passwords. You want to click on the external database URL and you want to look at that, and there you see a full URL in there. So this will be in here, but it will also have where it's deployed. So for example, for me, it's Oregon and then .render.com. So that's the full information that you then need to use in order to, for example, put it into Table Plus, and I now successfully connected. Okay, still trying to figure this out. It's taking really long. This cron job that we triggered here is still in process. I have no idea really what it's doing. I can't really see any logs right now. So that is always really tricky when you're working with the new deployment platforms. I have to wrap up for the day, literally. I'm just going to check back tomorrow and see if it actually did something. And whether, let's see, this is still running, where we have errors. And yeah, I'll get back to you. All right, good morning, guys. It's the next day. As you can see over here, we're now Friday, and I had a dinner last night. I really wanted to finish this, but it was taking a really long time to get the build done, and then I eventually ran into an error, and this is what was happening. So I got the following email from Render. Look, we have a server failure on the daily digest job. We ran out of memory. And that is because when I was trying to set this up, here you can see everything. When I was trying to set this up, if I go to the settings of the server really here, you can see that if I go all the way, where is it? Over here, you can see the instance type currently was set to, before it was starter, and I've upgraded it to standard. And that is because I did two things, actually. I figured that Dockling, the library that we are using in order to, that's not Dockling. Dockling, the library that we're using to extract or turn the HTML into Markdown, that's quite a beefy library, because behind the scenes, it loads in a lot of like powerful local models that can also do OCR. but that's not needed for this project. So that's why we were running out of memory. So I first just tried to update it to standard, which is something you can also try to do. But what I actually then did was like, okay, I think we can do a simpler approach here. So let's see, coming back to our app, then to our services, and then to, sorry, where is it? In our scrapers and in our Anthropic scraper, you can see that I am now using a different library. Let's actually scroll up. We have HTML to Markdown. And this is a very lightweight library. It's written in Rust. And this pretty much does the same thing. So then first through the request library, we get the HTML, and then this turns it into Markdown. It doesn't work as good as Docling though. I got to give you that. So pretty much what I did, so I imported the convert, and then that's pretty much now what we do. So I validated this, and it does work, but if we now, I'll give you an example in a bit. So later down the line, I might just look into just the component that we need from Docling and put it into the project myself. So essentially we're going to take something out of the package and put it here. So that's a quick little rundown. So what else did I do? So I removed Docling and upgraded the server. Yeah, okay. So that worked. So then I was able to continue. Let me actually go. So that's how we solved this error. Then I went ahead with the deployments. So you could see events. If I go into the logs, you can see a stream of all the logs, everything that's going on the server. So let me pull that up for you, because this is part of the learning process. This is a big part of doing deployments, to look at past logs and to debug that if it's loading. This is also why sometimes working with these external services can be a little bit tricky, because now this just like is stuck over here. So why can I not see this right now? Well, that's just annoying. Just give me, wait, this is probably there we go. This is just my error. Okay, so let's see. So then what happens is when it did not run out of memory and it tried to deploy the pipeline, it ran into errors one more time where the tables weren't properly created. So the tables here, you can see, for example, it tried to perform an operation. It says, look, YouTube videos, that table doesn't exist yet. So before it was specified in the Docker file. So we had, I'm not sure, no, it's already, we ran the create tables in here as well. That can probably still work, but I run into an issue. So how we solve that essentially is in the run daily pipeline. You can now see that we also import the engine in here, and then we perform a check to ensure that the database tables exists. So if the database tables aren't there, we manually create them in the daily runner. So that's another little tweak that I had to do. And now let's see, this is just stuff that I still want to do. So now you're up to speed again. But the cool thing is, this morning I woke up, look, there it is, the Daily AI News Digest, November 14th. Let's go. So I have this now in my inbox. So we made it end to end, and it's now working on a render, which is super exciting. All right, so let's try and wrap up this project right now. There are a couple of things that I still want to do. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new branch. So let's actually see this is all good. We can just get rid of this, because why I am going to do this, because I want you to follow along. So we're going to have the main branch, right? We just had the deployment branch, but now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do deployment final. And then that, yeah, okay, wait. Git is always a little bit weird with that, with slashes. Let's do deploy. Let's just use the dash deployment final. I thought it would be okay, but hey, it's not. Yeah, let's publish this branch. So now if I go to the repository, let's see, you can see, yeah, currently still private. So we have the master branch, and then we have the deployment and the deployment final. And now what I need to do, I need to go back to render, and I need to go into my settings, and then we need to change the branch. Look, so here we can now, we can edit this. And look, now we have the deployment final in here. So I'm going to say, look, this is the deployment branch. So whenever we push something to this branch, that's when we want to trigger this. So I want to do all of the final changes and adjustments and really make it nice and neat. Then put that into deployment final and then link that to render. And this way, as you go through this, you can still follow along with everything that we have. Let's see, everything that we have on the master branch. So this is pre-deployment, then the deployment up until this point. So you can maybe also run into some of those errors that I had. And then this is going to be the final boss really of this of this project. Okay, let's get started. So let's see, a couple of things that I want to do. I want to do some refactoring and I want to do deployment with UV. Let's see. First, I just want to make it super fast and go with UV and standardize all of this. But that can sometimes be a little bit tricky with Docker files, but I know that it's possible. So all right, the project is in a really good spot right now, but I want you to look at the deployment strategy and I want you to look into the Docker file and I want to first install UV on our server and then manage all of the dependencies from our PyProject.toml instead of having a requirements.txt. Can you first focus on that? If you're not sure how to do that, please look it up because it is possible. You can do this. All right, after a little bit of tinkering, we got it. It's now processing the email. There we go, email sent. I made some changes and I do want to check if we can still run it via UV, but also this works. What I did is I pretty much took a look at our deployment script that we have in the GenAI Launchpad to figure out, look, what is actually the pattern that we need to use here. And I do run a UV pip install on the PyProject.toml right now. Like I've said, the other way around should also theoretically work, but just to keep it simple for now, let's do this. And I just want to know, like, this should also work. I just want to know. All right, there we go. So we made a change. Now we run it using UV and here we go. It's here again. We got the email again. So like I've said, this is always the most tricky things about literally building your projects and deploying them, because it's always really abstract to figure out, look, what's actually going on behind the scenes on the server. So this is all running on Linux, so it's a little bit different to your current operating system. But what we're pretty much doing right now is we're using UV to install all of the requirements from the PyProject.toml, and we do it system-wide. And because we do that, we could pretty much run it from everywhere. We could use it. We could run it. That's my assumption. We could run with Python. We could run it with UV. That doesn't really matter because now system-wide, if we use Python, these dependencies will be installed. So we have our deployment final in here. This is looking good. This is now very efficient. It's optimized. We really only got what we need. We have the environment variables in here. Cool. Let's now come back over here and start to kind of like wrap up this project. And let's see, there's a couple of things that I want to do. First of all, I want to make sure that there are no duplicate digests. So imagine this, right? You have kind of like a 24-hour window, maybe there's a little bit of overlap. On the morning, you don't want an email from a daily digest item that you already had. So I'm now going to ask to say, no, this is going to be an agent. Okay, perfect. We're in a good spot right now. The only thing that I want to do is I want to keep track of the digest items that we already shared with the user. So can you help me figure out a plan to structure this most effectively? So whenever we have to digest items, then in the process email, we rank them and we select which ones we want to send. And then we somehow want to track that. Can you think about a way to do this? Okay, so how that would probably work is we would go into our database, we would go into our models, and we'll probably have something. Let's see, what is it going to do? It's going to update the models, send at. Yeah, so we're going to do that. It's going to do the send at. Okay, so it's adding that to this. We need a little database migration. Okay, looking good. So in the process email, we first just do a check, right? So we're going to check like if it's before sending the email, we do a check. Yeah, we mark it as count, and with the repository, that's just an extension of that to get the recent digest. There's an extension, and now we have the migration. So now we just need to check whether, let's see, it's going to take the database connection, but this is now the local one. So I don't have it set up to work with the production database just yet. So let's see, that's actually something that would be helpful to add to this as well, because now I've only connected to it using Table Plus, right? But if we wanted to make some changes now going forward and want to keep that in sync, it would make sense to also have the production connection in there. So, okay, let's check. Awesome. Yeah, that works, but now that performs the migration on the local database. Can you actually update the environment variables so that we can also, can you extend it so that we have a difference between the local database and the production database? What would be a best practice to set that up so we can easily switch and also perform this migration on the real database? What do you need from me? So let's see how it is going to set this up, because now if you remember, right, in our example, we have the configuration for our local database. So here you can see this is already automatically generated. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so now we have a little README file in here. So now we can check here for the configuration. So now we can set the environment. We can set it to local, or we can set it to production, and then we need the database connection, what we need. It automatically detects it, yeah, and then we need the database URL, yes. We uses the URL provided by render, so that's the external one. So now what I'm going to do is, look, we have the example.env, we have that over here. Let's see, what does this look like? Yeah, okay, this is all just comments, so we have it local. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to switch to this, and I'm going to into my actual env, and I'm going to copy paste what you just saw in the example, and I'm going to set the database to production. And what I'm now going to do is, now let me actually show you. I'm coming back to render, and I'm coming to my database. So in the blueprints, so this is the tricky stuff, guys. This is really the big difference between running a local demo and a production app. You have to tinker with these kind of things. If I scroll all the way down, there's this external database URL. I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to plug that into my environment variables. So that would go under the database URL. So I'm going to plug that in. That contains everything. So this is also very sensitive. You want to be careful with that. Right now, this database is still accessible publicly. So later down the line, I'll probably show you how we can protect this. That would probably be the last step to do this, to whitelist your IP address. So let's see. Let's close this out. Okay, let's come back. So what I just did, look, again, this is the example. In the env file over here, this one, I changed this to production, and I put the URL that we just copied from render in here. So now what we can do, look, so now we have updated the get database info as well, and then we can keep all of this. So now what should happen if we come over here to the database, this is the production version. If we have to digest, right now there's not a send at over here. What I want to validate right now is whether if let's see, we have the check connection. It would be a good best practice to do this first, to check if we have the database connection, production environment, host, connection successful. Perfect. So it checked everything. So now we can see, look, we have a successful connection to our production database, which is really good. And then, let's close this out. So now I'm going to run this migrate at send one more time. So I'm going to run this, and now this should perform the migration. And now later, if you really want to do this properly, you would do this ideally with something like Alembic, which is also something we use in our production builds. But for now, so Alembic is a way to manage database migrations. For now, I'm just doing it like this because I'm just making small little changes over here, just working towards a first version. Oh, it's asking, oh, there's a built-in warning. You're about to migrate production database. Type yes to continue. I love this. That's good. That's good. So yeah, let's do this. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now if we come over here and refresh this, let's see, digest, send at. This is going really smooth. Okay, so now we can also just get rid of this file. The thing is if you're following along in this is the final build. So the thing is you'll already have the models in here with the send at. So whenever you redeploy this and start with a database from scratch, it's going to automatically adjust this. What you can also do is just like delete all the tables and trigger the cron job again, because that's also going to create the tables. That all works. Okay, where are we? So this is going good. This is going good. So now we have to check connection in there. That's good. We have the connection is now either environment or local. So that's good. That's now very nice and neat in there. And then the only thing that we needed to check is, the send at. So if I now just go to the digests and let's just get rid of this. Let's not do that. So let's see, let's refresh. There we go. It's empty again. Now let's trigger the job one more time. So go to blueprints, to our news aggregator, to our cron job, trigger run. So now we wait for this to run everything. Okay, successful. There we are again. Let's come back. So now we should have, let's see. There we go. So we have 2 in here. And then send at. Is this correctly updated? Doesn't look like it is. And that is maybe because we still have to. Of course. We haven't pushed these changes yet. Okay, so this is something that we would then ideally first test locally to see if that works. So that is something that I can do right now. So then what I would do is I would go into the app and then go to the environment, set it back to local. And this is really the final straw of the video, guys, but this is also probably the one where you'll learn the most, because it's in the beginning, it's so challenging to manage different environments, right? Because it's so abstract, because even I right now is like, let's test this. Why is it not working? That's because I'm working locally, and you constantly need to keep an eye on that. What's local, what's in production, and that is if you only have local and production. If you have a whole like acceptation, maybe testing, acceptation, production, then it gets even more complicated with all of the different environment variables that you have to check. Because what we can do right now, look, if we now just come in here and we're going to pretty much just open up a new terminal. Now it's set to local, so I'm going to do UV. Let's see, because if I now switch to, so I'm going to switch to the local one and get the digests, just get that empty. Now we're going to run it locally one more time. So UV run main, and so this is going to run, this is going to scrape. Let's see, the send at was already here because I performed the local migration. Let's see, it's going to rank. That looks good. Do we have another email? There we go. We have another email. So that looks good. Now, if I come in the local database, let's come in here. Do we have the digests? So now I think here's something tricky going on, because I changed it to local, but look, it still says, if I do the check connection, it still says that it's in the production environment. And I just checked, if I go to the production database, you can see right now we have to send at. So the logic is working. That is good. But now we need to figure out, look, why is it not in the local database? So where is it getting? So we do get database info. Let's see what's in here. Why is this not working? Okay, and I now actually see that if the database URL is set and it contains something like render, it automatically checks or it automatically assumes that this is the production environment. So what I now want to do is I want to go and pretty much comment out the database URL. So we don't need that. And then let's see if I come to check connection one more time. Now run this. Now we're local. Okay, that's good. Now we're local. So now I can just open up the terminal once more, run this, and then we should validate this in the local version of our database. So let's give this a couple of seconds. We have one more email. That's good. That all works. Now coming to the local, let's see, this is the local database. If we refresh this, we should see the digests in here. We have the YouTube videos. That's good. We have the title, summary. Yeah, so these are sent. Awesome. So that's good. We have the YouTube videos. Everything's still here. Transcript is in here. That looks good. Okay, so this logic now seems to work. So that's just another way to make this a little bit more reliable. And we're almost there. We're almost there. So now pretty much what I want to do, this all looks good. We can now switch. The thing is, yeah, the nice thing is because it's set up like this within, let's see, within the README, I pretty much don't have to, that's probably why I did this. I don't have to change anything on my server with the environment variables because now it pretty, like we saw, we don't need to update the environment because if we, let's see on the settings, so that this is it on? Yeah, I think it's over here. We should somewhere, where are the environment variables? Let's see. Environment, manage environment. Look, here are all the environment variables that we set, remember? We don't have to put in the environment here right now because database's URL is already set by render. And I'm assuming it just captures that automatically on the server. But we'll have to do a final check for that. Okay. Wrapping things up. So that's all good. Let's first commit this. I'm not going to push this just yet because that would trigger a redeployment. What I am also going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, call it docs, where we have the deployment. And let's see the render setup. I'm going to put everything there. And now let's see, we should definitely update the README file in here to understand what's going on. And we also have we have this one in the database. I think that makes sense to leave here for now. What I think I'm just going to do the final check for this to like really wrap up the project and maybe do a little bit of refactoring, see if everything works. And then that should be it. Then from there, it can pretty much run and the rest is really like up to you. Like, do you want to add different sources? Do you want to change the HTML format of the email that you send? Do you want to change the prompts? But then the playground is there. So I'm going into plan mode and we're going to do something like this. All right, we now have the project at a pretty good spot. I want to do a final wrap up. Here are some things that I want you to look at. So first of all, let's go through the app folder and see if we can potentially optimize and refactor the code to overall make it easier, less redundant. Is there a way to do this without changing the database models? I don't want to touch that. That's in a good spot right now. But maybe you can look into creating some base classes and potentially using some inheritance to simplify some of the scrapers in there. Maybe that's possible if it makes sense. But you tell me, don't just follow my words in there. I want you to do a critical review. I pretty much want to optimize for a code base that's very lean and maintainable, and also modular enough that we can easily add more scrapers down the line without adding much extra complexity and overhead. So go through the entire project, pretty much figure out some tweaks that we can make. And then once you've done that and made those changes, I want you to update the final README of this in the root of this project in order to high level describe what this project is about and how it works. So that's an instruction there to the AI. And notice there were really a couple of things there. So AI really likes to like just go with you and say, look, you're totally right. We completely need to refactor this and all of that, and we can do this and this and that. But you always kind of like want to be careful with that and challenge it. So what I just said, like maybe like introducing new classes and doing some base classes and then a class inheritance, I think that makes sense here because we have multiple scrapers. So look, it can also see with scraper duplication. So the Anthropic scraper and the OpenAI scraper share 80% identical RSS parsing logic. When we were creating this, I already saw that. So that's something we can do. We have the sys.path, we can streamline that. Repository pattern duplication, similar bulk create methods. I think, yeah, definitely if we go into the database, this was also getting really big, the repository pattern. So for every operation, it added a new function to that. So that also sounds like a plan. Then we have the refactoring strategy. Yeah, base scraper, that's good. Generic article, get articles. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Looks good. Simplified repository pattern, remove that. Create scraper, registry pattern. I think this is going to be fire. Yeah. This is going to be fire. Are we checked in? Let's see. Let's do one final commit so we are sure. What did we update here? Yes. Yeah, let's go build this stuff. And with this is a really big task that's going to do here, and you really want to thoroughly check this. And this is also where you want to be careful as to really what it's doing, because you should also make sure that you still understand your code base, right? Because now it's structured relatively straightforward, but what we're going to do right now, let me show you. Like this is really where you get into like next level object oriented programming, where now look, in the scrapers we have a base class. We're going to create a base scraper where we're going to say, look, we have an article and we have a scraper, and this is where we apply all of the parsing logic. Now then when we go into the Anthropic scraper, you can see that right now we can get rid of a whole lot of code, and we don't even need this. We simply perform class inheritance, where we can say, look, we have an Anthropic article, which we inherit from an article, and then we have the scraper, which we inherit from the base scraper. And now the Anthropic scraper pretty much has all of the functionality from the base scraper, and we can just add to it what we need. Just that. And this way we can really reduce the footprint of our project. Let's see, is it still going? It is still going. So let's see what it did. So yeah, it's touching a lot of files over here. So this is a big one. So we have a runner over here. Going to change that. And normally you would have to be really meticulous with a change like this. But for now, for the sake of also just like moving a little bit faster, I'm just going to like put it to the test and actually see, look, if we were to deploy this, can we still trigger the cron job, and does it still run? So now so it's finalizing everything. Got the readme file. So this is now, let's see, okay, it's creating all of this, explaining everything that there is to it. And also just like what the we even have, let's see. I want to make some changes. I don't like this. We can definitely do better there with a mermaid diagram. But let's see, this is a lot. So we base class, scrapers refactored, agent refactored. So we now have a base agent as well. So in here we also have a base agent, and then from there we have the curator agent, the digest agent, and the email agent. Beautiful results, yeah. Perfect. Can you do one final thing, and in the README file, change the diagram to a mermaid diagram to explain the architecture? This is a lot. So it pretty much touched every file. Let's see. But you can also see, yeah. Like this, like I said, this is way too much to go through everything. So we're just going to test this, and I'll leave it to you to, like, if you want to dive deeper into how all of this works and how it is now structured, you can dive into things. But this is really how I, on a like serious client project, for example, would structure things. This is really the OOP way to do it, the object-oriented programming way to set up a proper Python project. Okay, so now we have a mermaid diagram. Okay, let's just keep everything. Keep all 20 files. Bam, one shot. Let's close the chat over here. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say big refactor. This is the big refactor. Let's commit, push, trigger the deployment. See if everything still works. Meanwhile, what we can do is we still have it on local. I'm just going to get rid of everything. Is this local? This is local. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Database completely empty. Coming back over here. UV run main.py. Creating the tables, processing. It already looks like it's working flawlessly. Then this is where AI is so good. Because since you already have a proven pattern and a proven structure, and you don't have to figure out the exact logic for refactoring, it is so insanely good. Like, I was pretty confident that this would just work straight out of the box, and it did. We have let's see, we have this again, digest, OpenAI articles, YouTube videos, and there we have it. So now let's also go back to our builds to see over here on our builds, the big refactor. This is now triggering. I don't think we didn't make any changes to the deployment itself. So I don't see any issues in here because it was pretty much everything was just in the app.py file. Now let's actually have a look at this branch and have a look at the README file. So the AI news aggregator explains what it does. An overview. We have YouTube channel, RSS feed, process, creation, delivery. Beautiful. The architecture. We get sources, YouTube channels, YouTube scraper, database. I don't really like this diagram. I think we can do better there. Can definitely do better there, but okay, how it works. We have the runner.py, runs all registered scrapers. Yeah, so that's what it now did. So that is a really cool, that's a really cool pattern. So let's see, it's in app.runner. So look, now what you'll find in here, save YouTube videos, just, yeah, there's a scraping registry. So here you can see in the runner right now, this is where we can register all of our scrapers, even with the parameters in there. So this is now a really clean interface to register pretty much everything that we have. And whenever we now, in this folder, we create a new scraper inherited from the base scraper, we can register it here, and then we can register it in the runner. So we have our processing layers, our curator, our email generator, the delivery, then the daily pipeline, and we have the project structure all clearly documented. So adding new scrapers. So this is now a super cool documentation to see, look, what we can do is we can add a new scraper in this folder. Here is what that would look like. We can add any XML feed to it, or RSS feed, I should say. Then we can register it in the runner. We can do even like a custom scraper. This is the setup, installation, set everything in here, initialize database. Yes, then you have the run setups, running the full pipeline. And remember how earlier on this video I said where, look, YouTube can temporarily block your IP from the internal API if you're trying to scrape too much transcript. So you can see the transcript is now not available. So this will now not be considered in the automation. But remember, right, we had, if we come back over here to our app, let's see, are we good? Example, yeah, we should actually, I should add that in there. So that's the web share proxy. And I think this was, where is this document? Is this documented somewhere? It's at least documented in the scraper in the YouTube service. Yeah, look, here we have the proxy username and the proxy password. So I am going to actually update that in the example. So we have web share username, or so proxy username, and we have proxy password, which we are going to set. And now again, I'm going to switch over here. And I'm going to simply copy paste this within my, first of all, in my env file, but we also need to update this on the server. So let me actually see. I know where I have what I'm doing right now is I'm opening up another project where I know I have those environment variables stored. So I'm just going in there and yeah, let's see. There we have it. Actually going to plug that in. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to say, look, this is web share because that will make it easier also for you to recognize, right? So this is just going to be web share. And then we also need to update that in here. So we call that web share username, web share password. So this should already work. And so now it's updated in my local environment. You have it in here. Now I'm also going to say, please add some instructions to the README file on how to set up web share username and web share password. Stop this. I'm going to do YouTube transcript API pip because I know on the GitHub that's where it is explained how to do that, and I followed that by example. Yeah, here we go. Then it says pretty much here what you need to. Here you need to get a residential one. So it is explained. Okay, so we're going to add that. Now also what I need to do. So now it would work locally, but now this would not work in our environment or our deployment, I should say, because then if we go to environment, what I need to do is I need to, let's see, environment variables. I need to edit this. I need to add a new variable. I need to plug that in here. And now I'm going to change this one more time to see, look, what is my username? So I have my username in here. So, and I'm going to add new variable, and then I'm going to do my password and plug that in there as well. And then save, rebuild, and apply on next run. Yeah, okay, we're going to save that. Okay, coming back. So now you can see, look, now I have the web share password and username also in here. We're going to trigger a redeployment. And look, now it also explains the process of adding your username and password in there. Let's see, we changed this. We updated the examples. So that is all good. So now I'm going to also trigger this from here to actually push this code. And what this is pretty much doing is if you go in here, if you go to web share, and like I said, you need to get a rotating residential, pretty much what it is going to do. And you should not like right now we're still like using the YouTube transcript API through like what I would say fair use, because we could also do this manually and we're not scraping like massive amounts of data in here, but YouTube is having a limit on how much you can use that internal API. If you use a rotating residential proxy, pretty much every time you try and hit the internal API endpoint to get the transcript, you do it from a different residential IP address. And if you use WebShare, they have literally millions. So every time it's a different IP address and they would never be able to track that. So this is it's a very production ready way, because literally you'll never run into any issues with this, because it will literally just go through all of these and it will never be able to track that, since it's a public API. That's why that's possible. And it's also the same API that YouTube is actually using under the hood to load in the transcript for each video. That's what the YouTube transcript API is built upon. It essentially like bypasses that internal API. It's really interesting actually. So now if we come over here to our builds, we should have another build in here, because what I now want to check, I want to one more time get rid of all the tables, and I want to do the final check to see if we can now get the three things, right? We need the OpenAI, one article at least, and I think 2 YouTube videos. That's what we should have in here. So let's see, this should finish in a couple of secs. Complete. Now we're going to trigger the run once more. There we go, scraping everything processing OpenAI GPT 5.1. Okay, that's looking good. Sending the email. It's now ranking 3 digests for email generation. Send. Okay. Do we have 3 articles in here? There we go. There we go. Love it. Okay, that's it. Now we have. Now I'm comfortable with this project. Now, like, you can go through this, and like I said, this is pretty serious, guys. This is pretty serious. If you're still here with me, by the way, and you managed to follow through all of this, it's pretty insane. I don't think I've ever done a video like this deep and this advanced on my YouTube channel. So yeah, this is. I hope you like it. I hope this is going to help you a lot if you made it through. So now, what's next, actually? There are a couple of things that you can do right now. So first of all, you can try, of course, an experiment with adding different RSS feeds. I think that's the most interesting one to look at for you to continue this. And this will also really give you a good understanding to look, do I actually understand how this works, how this all is set up? So go through some other like interesting stuff that you want to add in there. So that's one thing. Then also where you can do a lot of stuff, of course, is in the agent in the agent process, right? So we of course have the curator prompt. We have our profile, which is, where is that actually? Where did we move our profile? User profile. Let's see, where did we move that? Profiles. I'm not sure why I did not see that. So of course you have your profile. That is of course something you want to adjust. And then you also like, what kind of in the email agent, where is the, let's see, we have in the services, we have the email. So here's the whole HTML of how you process it. So you can adjust like, what do I want things to look like? How much articles do I want? How do I want to score articles? How much do I want in there? And what's going to be my profile that we're going to make it specific to? And you could like, not gonna lie, this is you could literally like turn this into a software. You could literally say, hey, go create an application. I may just actually do that, like as a continuation of this project. I may actually do this. Or I'm like, look, hey, imagine this landing page. Like, get your favorite AI news delivered every day to your inbox, tailored to you. You let people create an account. You have their email. They pretty much plug in their profile, what they're interested in, and then you would just expand this, where you make this very, very large. And then you could say, look, you could try it 1 week for free. So 1 week, you just like get all of the articles every day, and then boom, you need to get on like, what would people pay for this? $10 a month, $20 a month, something like that. I think that could work. You build a service around that, and then you can also say, look, how often do you want the digest, right? Do you want it every 24 hours, or do you want to have it every week? It's a product. It's a product. You could build this out. And here's the foundation. I believe you can make money with this. So those are all things that you can now do, right? Also, one thing that I haven't covered, and I'm really going to wrap it up right now, you should ideally also look into protecting your database, right? Because now it's publicly exposed, so pretty much any IP address could connect to it. You want to ideally whitelist one of your IPs. So what we're, for example, on, let's see, can I show this? I think I can show this. Yeah, we're using a Nord layer. We have a Datalumina gateway where we have a fixed IP address. So we use this for all our agency work, where whenever we have a serious project, so this is Nord layer, you could look into that, we get a static IP. So me and everyone on our team uses the same IP address, and then we can go in here, and we could probably, I'm not sure where we can configure that. It's probably going to be in the settings somewhere, schedule log stream. You will have to figure that out. Maybe it's at the blueprint level, but we auto sync. Yeah, there should be a way to whitelist IP addresses. So that's also something you wanna have in there as this gets more serious, especially as it starts to contain user information. Right now it's all public data, so it doesn't really matter as much, but still something to keep in mind. So here's like, oh, you would definitely do that on the database level. So if I scroll all the way down over here, look here, you can see the inbound IP restrictions. So right now it's set to like 000. This means any IP range can access this. I would then plug in my own private IP address. And then when I'm working with it, Render would set it up so that internally the services can connect with each other. So of course the cron job needs to be able to, the environment from, or server from which that is run should be able to work with that. So I think that should probably already be pretty much handled out of the box by Render. But then if I wanted to connect to it locally, I would pretty much fill this in. So there you have it. You made it to the end of this big video. Like I've said, I hope you learned a lot. This was really different from most of the other videos that I do on my channel. And I think the most valuable aspect of this video is not really the code that we generated, but more the thought process and showing you really behind the scenes of how I think about it, how I use it, the different tools, how I architect my application, and then use AI on top of that while still being in control. So this is not vibe coding. This is AI assisted coding. This is agentic coding. And if you found this video helpful, please also consider liking it. You should definitely leave a like at this point if you're still here. Also subscribe to the channel. And I want to quickly tell you a little bit more about our Datalumina Academy, because if you've gone through this video, it means you're a pretty capable engineer already. And the Datalumina Academy is really here to take you to the next level. So I will link it down below, but we have primarily like two main programs that could really be interesting for you. And that is either the GenAI Accelerator or Data Freelancer, or maybe they're both interesting. So our GenAI Accelerator is our 6-week track, really, to turn you from a developer into like a really capable AI engineer. So that I know that in this YouTube video, we showed a lot already, but I went super fast, right? Because this was a live build. If you fully want to understand all of the individual components, all the way from architecting AI systems to way more complex agent builds, to prompting, to setting up API endpoints using webhooks, all the way through RAG, evals, and deployment, this is the track for you. We've worked with students working at companies like Booking, Intel, EA, Accenture, Meta, Oracle. So we have an insane amount of people, talented engineers in here that went through this program, and the feedback so far has been really good. So this is if you want to go really deep on the technical aspect of AI engineering. It's a technical track. It's split up in 6 weeks, but you have lifetime access. You can take however long you want to complete this. This is just from an organizational point of view about how we've set it up. Okay, look, if you say, Dave, I already understand this. I am already a very capable engineer. I already built projects in my day-to-day job, whether that's AI engineering, data science, machine learning engineering, software engineering, and you say, hey, I also want to do what you do with Datalumina and work on my own projects, then you should consider checking out Data Freelancer. This is my program. I've been running this for 3 years already. This is the program I'm also the most passionate about. This is where I help technical professionals like you start a freelancing business. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to pull back the curtain on how I run Datalumina, how I started as a freelancer, the most effective ways to get started, how to find clients, how to sell, how to create proposals, how to register your business, how to create your website, all of that. Everything will be in here. There will be nothing, no stone will not be unturned when you go through this program when it comes to freelancing. So that's really for you if you want to learn how to consistently land high-value freelance projects. And you can do this totally fine without like having to go all in. You can do this next to your full-time job right now. So like I said, we've been doing this for 3 years already. You can look at some of the results that we've gotten for some of our students. That's another one that I just wanted to put out here because like I've said, if you made it to this end, one of those programs could really be the next kind of like unlock that you need in your career to like really take things to the next level. Cool. And with that out of the way, we made it all the way to the end. So I want to thank you very much for your time and attention. This was a long video, but what I will do, I will put one video up here that I think will be a good one to watch for you next. So go check that out right now. And then hopefully we'll stay in touch either via this channel or maybe I'll see you inside the academy.